what? Like, welcome to A Possible Coin, a show where if the purpose of this radio program was to test the reflexes of people, it would have failed years ago. I am joined today by a man who lives in East New Mexico, or New Mexico, or West Not That Guys, Rocky Hardy.
Hey, you know what? Texas might hate us, but we live in West Texas, El Paso, Texas. #1 in coronavirus spread. Thank you very much.
Oh, you guys are beating Utah right now?
Go team.
Oh, man, fuck Utah. This rookie numbers.
Jesus.
You're beating Florida, too? Florida was winning for the longest time. They had the high score.
Yeah, but see, Tegan, like the space race, it is a race, not a checklist. We got to the end first.
Mm-hmm.
What's the end? Is the end where everyone is actually, infected? All people infected?
Okay, so maybe we're still on the way. Whatever.
Yep. It's a marathon. It's one of those, like, 4-man marathons where you're handing off batons. And waiting for the baton is Tegan Somerset.
Yep. Please don't give it to us. Ohio is suffering enough. Honestly.
I'm, like, racking my brain over a relay marathon right now.
We're doing that thing. Okay, so, like, if you look at the number of coronavirus infections per capita, the Midwest is really, we're taking off and we're doing it right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm happy for us or something. Just remember, you have to die after Election Day or else they won't count your ballot.
Oh my god.
Is that a rule?
Technically, yeah. Because, like, you know, if you die before they count your ballot, if they try to verify you, then they end up in a trickier legal question, which is, were you alive when you submitted your ballot? And if it, like, happened by mail, that's probably the worst case scenario. But if you showed up at a place, they check security footage, and you have to, like, litigate that case while, like, people are just trying to figure out the election, it's a huge mess.
No dying until after the election is
That's a death.
finalized. Those are the rules.
And curious about whether or not he can die before Tuesday, Stuart Templeton.
Also, so Brian, you're referring to the Tuesday in the past? Because this will be the day after.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to hell, everybody.
Don't worry about it. My grandma said that we aren't going to know who actually won for like 4 or 5 days, and she said that's totally normal. And my grandma's voted in every election since she could vote, and she's an old lady, so it'll be fine. Or it won't be fine. By the time you're hearing this, I'm hungover as fuck, so it doesn't matter.
And this episode of Impossible Coin is brought to you by Nick Nemeth's Ostrich Helmets.
Oh my god.
If you're out there trying to gather water and supplies in the pandemic for your tribe, and you want to protect your ostriches from other hunters, Nick Nemeth's Ostrich Helmets. Now offering helmets with a little pointy spike on the top.
I do like the ones with the little pointy spike on the top.
Well, that's why Nick Nemeth wants you to come on down.
It makes them look like the little Mario enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
talking
thinking
about?
of Paper Mario, like, for sure.
Yeah, I like them.
Yep, at the...
Oh, hold on. I want to get into video games early. I'm going to do it. Bug Fables, you know, the not Paper Mario, like, indie game,
Right.
is apparently doing a 1.1 update where they're doing a bunch of bug fixes to fix some stuff, but also they're adding new story content and new extra battles. And, like, I've never lived through a time where, like, Paper Mario got patched before, and I'm excited. I want to fuck with it.
God, Rocky.
That was it. What?
Way to bring the mood down by talking about video games.
We're a video game podcast. That's why we're here.
I guess. We are...
Okay, fine. I'll go back off topic real quick. Back to, you know, the degradation of our society. I just want to say, briefly and succinctly, fuck landlords. Fuck landlords in perpetuity.
I'm 100% with
I
you.
mean, you're not wrong, but what do they do?
For anyone who may not know, because, you know, most people don't know me like that, I renew my leases in November. That's how it works. And I was talking to my rental management company, because I don't talk to a particular landlord, about renewing my lease. And I asked them to send me the lease, or no, I asked them if I needed to come in, because like 3 months ago they said, hey, you got to come into the office and sign the lease in person. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not doing that. I'll do that later. And so a couple weeks ago, I asked them, hey, so where is the office again? Like, apparently I need to come in and sign it. And they're like, nah, never mind. We're just going to send you a link or whatever. So I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And they send me the link. And they fuck up some shit along the way, but that's, most businesses aren't tax savvy. I'm not going to trash them for that. But when I get my lease, I look over it, and they tell me that my rent's going to go up $100 a month. And I was just like, yo, like, what the fuck? We talked about this in September, and I was going to get a $10 increase. What the fuck is that? And we went back and forth about it for a couple of hours. I eventually send them, like, the messages where they said, you're going to get a $10 increase, and they fix it, right? Then they eventually send me the correct lease. I sign it and move on with my life. Day of recording is actually November 1st. Shoutouts to Dia de los Muertos, Watch Coco and Cry or whatever. It's your business. And I'm looking at my rental company's website so I can pay my rent because I don't like letting that sit around. And I look at it, and my rent is just a little too high. It's not $100 over, so it's not like they forgot what I signed. But when I went over the charges, we do some utilities included, like trash and water specifically. Mm-hmm. But the way that my billing always shakes out, they put in my water price, and it's tied into my rent. So, like, the difference is that, like, the number that we agreed upon, I guess what they're trying to trick me into thinking is that it's not rent plus water. It's just rent, and then we're going to charge you water on top of it. But that's not what my fucking lease says. So I had to call my rental property today, but, we're recording on Sunday, and they're not open on Sundays. So I got to fight with them again to make sure that they take this fucking $25 charge off my rent so I can pay my rent properly. The only reason they do this, because this isn't the first time they've done this, I've lived here for a couple of years, the only reason they do this is because they think I don't read the lease or go over my charges when they send me bills. And I'm fucking sick of it. You're not gonna game me because you think I can't fucking read. Get your shit together. Fuck landlords.
Yep. I think we talked about it on the show when, like, at the beginning of the pandemic, my landlord sent a love letter.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Like, hey, everybody, I know a whole bunch of people are losing their jobs due to the pandemic, but just a reminder, nothing's changed.
Rent's still due on the 1st, bro. Oh, my God.
See, meanwhile, I have the best possible situation where my landlord is my mom and dad, and so I just texted them and said, hey, rent's gonna be late this week, sorry about that, and they were like, it's cool.
See, that makes sense. Though your parents sound like reasonable people, Tegan.
I'm also the responsible child, so they know I wouldn't say that it's gonna be late if it wasn't gonna be late.
So, Tegan.
Yeah.
In the event that you never get a hold of money to pay your rent, you have pinned your dreams to living inside of an Xbox fridge?
Oh, yeah. Well, basically, what I plan on doing is I'm gonna get the Xbox fridge, and then I'm gonna sell it for my... No, I'm not really. I'm not gonna resell the Xbox fridge. That's gonna be my fridge! I will charge people to see it, though.
What?
I'm gonna charge people to see my cool Xbox fridge. And that'll pay my rent. That's it. Easy peasy. I got this. Yeah, so in March, remember March?
I do.
Sounds like it was like 3 years ago.
When the Xbox made an infographic that was a fridge for scale, because everyone was saying the new Xbox Series X looks like a refrigerator, and they were like, it is not a fridge, we promise, and they showed an actual refrigerator for scale compared to like what the Xbox One X is. Well, the Xbox made a fridge. They made a fridge that looks like the Xbox One X, but it is a full-ass size fridge, and it makes the Xbox startup sound when you open it.
Wait, so it's not a functioning Xbox?
It is a functioning fridge. It is not a functioning Xbox.
Okay.
Do you have to pay extra for, like, the Internet of Things, internet activities?
There are no screens on it. The only thing you get is you get a light at the Xbox, like, logo. It does weigh 400 pounds and measures a bit over 6 feet tall.
That sounds a little light for a fridge. Maybe I'm thinking of a full fridge.
It's over 6 feet tall. It's huge.
It's the cloud version.
Yeah, it's the cloud.
Can you get a Grocery Pass Ultimate so that way, like,
God, I wish. I would like a Grocery Pass Ultimate that would just automatically refill my Xbox refrigerator with Monster and Mountain Dew. Can we hook that up, please?
Oh, God, Tegan. One day, your grocery list will be known by its true name, which is the shit that gave me diabetes.
One day I'll get diabetes, but let me know when that
God.
day happens, because I sure as shit won't.
Oh my god. Also, Tegan, I actually don't hope that you win the Xbox fridge. I'm sorry.
Why? Is it because you
I
want to
don't-
win the Xbox fridge?
Oh, no, I don't. That sounds ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
But my friend, the Hennessy, he was on a couple weeks ago. He recently moved, but for some reason, even though he moved into the new house like 2 months ago, they still don't have a refrigerator.
He can have
And
my
so,
old
like-
refrigerator. I have 2 refrigerators. I will sub him out the one that I replace with my Xbox fridge.
Okay, at that point, then it's fine if you win the Xbox fridge.
I want the Xbox fridge. It's, as soon as I saw it, I tweeted about it, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna enter in to get this. And then I replied to my own tweet, and I was like, it's his and her Xbox One X's, because I got Alex the Xbox Series X. I need the her version, which is the refrigerator that I put all my Mountain Dew in.
Oh my god.
I can't wait. I'm not gonna win it, but, like, I want it. I want it so bad. It lights up green on the inside. Come on. It's cool.
I wonder how much you could sell it for on resale, especially since there's only one.
I mean, on the plus side, we're gonna know. When this show comes out, they're gonna know who won. It won't be me. But if it is me, I will be ecstatic. I hope Snoop Dogg himself delivers it.
Oh my god.
If Tegan comes into possession of the Xbox fridge,
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea for how we launch Impossible Coins OnlyFans.
Oh no.
Is
Which
it me in
is-
the fridge?
I mean, I don't think we need to actually. I
I don't think we need more women in refrigerators.
I don't think we need to put Tegan in the fridge. I think we just be like, look at all these provocative like photos and videos of just the fridge. Like, I want like slow motion pans across the industrial edges. You know,
Oh
like
god, yeah.
yeah.
The like,
Like-
we'll do that installation footage where it like slides perfectly into place.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm in.
Okay. Yeah.
That's our OnlyFans. It's just sexy images of this fucking fridge.
Oh my god.
Like
I'm excited.
if you ever wanted to pound one out to a novelty refrigerator.
It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's great. And like literally the top response like from Xbox was just like, hey, yeah, don't let your memes be dreams. And I was like, what the fuck? They started that fucking fridge. Someone made that graphic and then they went, but what if we made an actual fridge? And then they had to go through all of the logistics of making an actual fridge. Wild.
Oh man.
It's
That
just
sounds really funny.
wild.
Someone just sat there and just like, we gotta be able to make a fridge, right? Like, it can't be that hard.
Is this going to increase the resale value of my home? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's only if you agree to leave the fridge upon sale.
No, I'm just going to put the fridge in the photos. It's going to be in the photos, and I'm going to take it with me.
That is some false ass
Okay.
advertisement.
No, hold on.
No, you'll
Brian,
get to
give me a
see the
second.
fridge when you tour the house, but I'm taking it with
Tegan.
me.
How much on the closing price would they need to add to guarantee that you leave the fridge in the house when you leave?
Ooh, minimum $50,000.
$50,000?
Minimum.
Tegan, it's a
Tegan, what are you
refrigerator.
fucking
Yeah, but,
talking
like,
about?
I live in a good school district. We're conveniently located to everything.
No.
We're not talking about closing on the entire house. This is a specific line item fridge bonus.
I know, and for my emotional distress of having to leave the fridge, the separation anxiety of his and her Xboxes,
Oh my god,
I'm gonna need compensation for that.
Okay, Tegan, let's say someone offers you $4,000 extra cash at signing. So, like, they sign the thing, everything else is financed, and they put $4,000 in your hand to just leave the fridge there.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
Okay. All right.
For $50,000, I could probably recreate the Xbox fridge.
Okay. Well,
That's my logic.
no.
Is then I can get another Xbox fridge.
Brian, I need you to figure this out. How much money would it take to recreate the Xbox fridge?
That's
I know
your
it's less than
homework.
$50,000.
So, okay, let's say this. Tegan, you're at home, and one day the door knocks, and you go and you look through your peephole, and you see standing on your porch, wearing a face mask and standing a respectful 6 feet back from the door now is 84-year-old actor Robert Redford.
I don't know who that is.
Tegan doesn't know actors. Come on, Brian.
Okay. Then what you see is an old man. Okay?
Okay.
And he says to you, I need to talk. In a voice which has more natural resonance than generally a man that old would have. Okay? So you open the door, and he says to you, Hi, I'm actor Robert Redford. I'm the star of such films as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Jeremiah Johnson. I also was in the film, that one, What with the Demi Moore and the Woody Harrelson.
Come on, Brian, Powers Pizza. Come on.
Okay. I was in a movie where a guy pays Woody Harrelson $1 million to sleep with Demi Moore, and I was the guy who paid that money. I have a smaller version of that deal. I'd like to give you $10,000 to have sex with your fridge.
To have sex with the fridge?
So he doesn't want to keep the fridge permanently. Okay? Basically,
I mean, $10, you can stop by.
Okay, but this is like a strange old man that I don't know.
this is he is a celebrity person.
Is he a
So
celebrity?
So he says. Tegan
So
doesn't
he
recognize
says.
that.
Yeah, I don't know him.
Okay.
Who is he? We don't know.
All right. So there's this old man on your porch who's offering you $10,000 to
I
have.
say no.
You say no.
And then when I find out who it is, I sell that story to like fucking Esquire magazine and make bank.
I think she could at least get that $10,000.
Rocky, if you were in possession of the Xbox fridge, would you let Robert Redford fuck it for $10,000?
No, because I put food in that fridge, Brian!
It doesn't look like it has very good freezer space. It looks like it's literally all refrigerator space. Just saying. It looks like it's all fridge, no freezer.
I'm gonna have fucking dripping semen in my fucking old fridge. Even if I clean it out, I can't clean out the memories. It's forever unclean. I'm not gonna take $10,000 to curse my own refrigerator.
Stu?
I just resell the video from my creepy Airbnb in the kitchen.
That is a strat.
Yeah.
I don't have those.
Yeah, and Airbnb won't kick you off the website for recording people, so They say they will, but then they don't.
Fuck.
Ladies, watch out when you're in Airbnbs. Look for those cameras.
That's so scary.
I mean, they got Rudy Giuliani.
Jesus! God. Damn it. What? Why? Oh, God.
Brian, I know you're in a stressful position right now, but understand you did this to yourself.
Wait a minute. I unbuckled Rudy Giuliani's pants?
I mean, on this show? Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it was a good wig. I don't know.
I mean, in that case, I would like to apologize to everyone for unbuckling Rudy Giuliani's pants. I did not, however, let Robert Redford fuck a fridge. That's an entirely different...
No, that's also your fault. No.
He doesn't get
to walk away from that.
No.
That is also Brian's
fault. No. It was a posed hypothetical. He's not fucked a single fridge.
You posed the hypothetical!
I mean, okay.
Wait, is this his first fridge?
We don't know.
Not.
We
if
don't
he has the
know.
confidence to walk up to some random woman's house in Ohio to ask to fuck their fridge, there's no way this is his first fridge. I don't believe it. Insane.
I mean, that's a tall order if it's his first fridge.
I mean, you do want your first time to be special.
Jesus Christ. Well, that was a path.
We did wander down it. That was a thing.
So now that Robert Redford has shot his shot, Tegan, you want to tell us about this one shot?
Yeah, I did a Halloween-themed one-shot using something that I actually got from my itch.io big Black Lives Matter bundle. Neat, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's called What's So Cool About Wizarding School, and it's totally not based on a very successful book series by some British author you've probably never heard of.
You mean Hatsune Miku?
Yeah, Hatsune Miku, my favorite British author. Yeah, so we did that. That was cool. It was a lot of fun. We solved a Halloweeny nightmare. I made Bunny the dog my dog, but I also made her a Labradoodle instead of the kind of fluffy sheepdog she is. So, Bunny the dog, if you don't know, is a dog on TikTok, and her mom is teaching her how to talk using buttons. It's basically like a movable soundboard, which is what SLPs use with children who are nonverbal and have autism to try and help them learn how to communicate. Because they understand words, it's just like they don't have the they're a lot of times like sensorily overwhelmed, and so they struggle with speech, but they can point to what they need on stuff. So it's the same thing, but it's just buttons. It's just buttons on the floor, and Bunny will push the button she needs. It's very cute, very good. This dog is smart. Love it. Love me some good smart dog. Good smart dog. So I made my own Bunny. You're only supposed to pick like a toad or a cat or whatever, but our DM was Gata, and he said I could have a Labradoodle because those things are demon souls that are created with magic, so obviously it worked. His wife is a vet tech, so like, they have a lot of very strong opinions about different breeds of dog, so.
Rip to Labradoodles, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's fine. They're very smart, but they're also very, like, dumb and trusting, so it works out. They're good dogs! Anyway, it was fun. 10 out of 10 would do it again. We're probably gonna do it again next year. But yeah, check out your HIO bundles if you bought those, because, like, there's some cool stuff in there.
Also, maybe, like, I know that we try and plug it periodically on the show, but maybe buy stuff from Itch in general.
Yeah.
You know, like the, not putting a bunch of shitty DRM that requires to call home to mama every time you open a piece of software is pretty cool. Creators are getting a bigger slice.
Creators can choose the slice.
Yeah. And the one shot we used is 6 pages and you need 2d6 and that's it. And like, we were just using the like roller in Discord for it, so it was fine.
And there's so many problems associated with both, you know, the Steam and the GOG. Maybe give Itch a little love. You know, it's a good time. I got hung up on something, and it's a thing I think I've gotten hung up on the show before. If I've given this speech before, then just say, like, God damn it, Grandpa, we've heard this. I kind of think that people should be a little bit more selective with this whole, like, notion of Hatsune Miku as being the true author of something. I appreciated how it originally started, which was, like, Notch being terrible, and like, Notch being Notch, and, like, saying a whole bunch of, like, Notch shit on Twitter. And people were like, how do I reconcile my love of Minecraft with the fact that Notch is a pile of shit? And so, like, thus the first iteration of Hatsune Miku as the true creator of something was born. The essential difference, though, between Hatsune Miku created Minecraft and Hatsune Miku wrote Harry Potter is that Notch has been bought out, son. He's done. There is no more Minecraft money for Notch. He has been bought out. Meaning that, like, if you are continuing to purchase and actively support Minecraft products, then the only thing that you're having to reconcile for yourself morally is whether or not you're cool with Microsoft getting money, which is an entirely different conversation. Like, Notch is no longer getting money from your money. With the Hatsune Miku is the author of Harry Potter business. Active piece of shit, turf fucking asshole J.K. Rowling is still actively enriching herself significantly from Harry Potter. And so it just feels like, in this particular case, like, Hatsune Miku is the author of Harry Potter doesn't seem like so much like a way to, like, make a thing that people enjoy more palatable when there's no longer evil getting paid. More like a way to just reconcile and justify paying evil.
While that is a salient difference, Brian, the reason Hatsune Miku is attached to both of those properties is because they are popular media aimed at children with creators that have shown themselves to be TERFs.
Oh, wait, shit, man. TERF is just one of the many things wrong with Notch. Like, not,
Sure.
Yeah, like, oh my god, like, he is, what's the name of that little fucking Pokemon? He is an Eevee of being a piece of shit. Like, you know, like, you expose
That's
Notch.
That's so mean to Eevee.
No, what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, you expose Notch.
I can't get behind that.
Can we make him the Ditto of it, or the Trubbish? He just gathers the garbage as he passes it by.
Okay,
Trubbish or Ditto are fine.
Alright, I ripped my analogy.
We did. We ripped it to shreds.
I'm just saying that, like, if you expose Notch to various different, like, you know, accelerants, and you're like, oh, hey, Notch, look at this. Like, hey, Notch, look, it's scientists talking about COVID. Then Notch will, like, become a particular type of piece of shit. Or if you're just like, you know, hey, Notch, Black Lives Matter, he then becomes a different type of piece of shit. Like, I'm just saying that, like, there are different ways to evolve your Notch. You know?
Ah, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Nowhere near as cute as an Eevee, and pretty bad. But
Just let it go, Brian.
I mean, I would feel more comfortable with Hatsune Miku being the author of the Call of Cthulhu. You know? Like, Lovecraft is dead. Lovecraft is no longer actively being paid. You know?
Okay, your point's been made.
Okay.
Brian, tell me about your interaction with this house tour. I don't know what this is.
Okay. You sent it to me, man.
What? No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you did. You put it in fucking chat. You're like, Brian, you need to look at this before the next show.
Really? That was me?
Yes.
Okay. If you say so, man.
I thank you for it, because, like, I fell deep down this rabbit hole.
I guess I'll accept that.
Yeah. So, there's this house in Kentucky, which, whoo, God, like, I have spent so much time at this point looking into the history of this structure.
Why do you care about this house? Why is it Kentucky? Why?
Because,
Is this the one on
yes, this is the one.
Let's finish this question.
over a twofer?
Well, Stu and I were talking about the house earlier
Alright.
this week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on my list too. We're
Yeah.
in.
All right, well, then let's talk about this fucking
right.
house, Stu.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go in. Yeah.
How did you approach your layers of fun to this thing, Stu? Like,
Once again, no one knows what the thing is.
oh, okay. It's a 3D house tour.
Yeah, give some background.
So it kind of feels like an ARG.
It was. It is
Yeah.
now off the market, so you can no
Someone-
longer tour this house.
Someone bought the house?
Someone bought the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a real house that was for sale, and it's a very surreal experience to go through the virtual experience of it, but it is real. It became an impromptu, accidental sort of ARG by handing people like links to that virtual tour and saying, go find the bathtub.
Yep.
The bathtub?
Have you
Okay, but,
spotted
bathtubs are
the
bathrooms,
cat?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things where, like, the longer you spent in there, it would, like, pose more questions than answers it would offer. The bathtub in question was not in any one of the 4 bathrooms in the house.
That is surprising.
Yes. And eventually you would just kind of, like, round this corner, and then, like, beside this, like, stack of, like, empty USPS boxes, there'd be, like, this narrow entryway you could kind of, like, slide into. And then you would enter a room where the entirety of the room was the bathtub. Like, coming through the door, you're walking into the bathtub. Like, you're walking down a little mini staircase into the tub.
That's insane.
And leading up to this is a lot of questionable material, sort of like a borderline pornographic.
Okay.
Are we talking about the Girls Gone Wild wall?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the Girls Gone Wild wall.
Yes. So there is an entire wall in this one particular room, which is nothing but upwards of 1,000 Girls Gone Wild DVDs.
They made that many?
No, and here's the thing: is like you look at me like you're like looking on the wall, and you're like, there's 30 of one, just like right beside each other, like Miami Beach Titties 2. Like there's 30 copies of Miami Beach Titties 2.
Okay.
Presumably for resale or bootlegs. It's really hard to gauge at what point they were
Fine,
put there.
for sure.
Right. And so you walk into the tub. The tub is absolutely filthy. There is like this like horrible rust colored stain in the tub. And then like perched on the various like corners of the tub are mostly things that you would use for cleaning oneself, except on one corner of the tub is just like a 2-liter bottle of Surge.
Like the soda.
Right. And you're like, Surge? You're like, when were 2 liters of Surge last commercially available?
Damn, all I got are Shasta. I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel out of place.
Right. So, and as you wander around the house, like, again, like, it poses more questions than it has answers to offer. You just go down, like, one narrow hallway in one of the multiple basements that the house has to offer. Because there are 2 different disconnected basements, and one of those 2 basements has a sub-basement.
Yep.
Yep. And so, like, coming around a corner...
And someone bought this house.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And so, like, you just come around a corner and just see, like, a box just labeled, like, Mochi Monsters. And, like, okay, that's fine. And, like, sitting across from Mochi Monsters is just, like, a pile of stuff. And sitting on top of it is, like, this black and white cat just kind of staring at the Mochi Monsters box as if he's waiting for something to come out of it. And you're like, all right, cat, this is your agenda. Around the house is like various like evidences of industrial architecture. Either there's like vent placement in the floor, commercial fire alarms, emergency floodlights. There's points where like there's a very disorienting feeling because you'll believe yourself to be underground, and then you come around a corner and you'll encounter a wall which like looks out onto a street.
Yep.
Yeah, it's. If I were to say Winchester Mansion, does that ring a bell to any of you?
No.
That does sound familiar.
Okay. So the Winchester Mansion is a structure in California that was built by a member of the Winchester family. I can't remember if she was told in the process of like a seance or something, was basically told that like the ghosts of people killed with Winchester rifles couldn't rest unless this house was like built on continuously. And so like this house like had ceaseless construction until she died. And so like the architecture of the building just like makes no sense. And it is now.
Oh, yeah, that is right. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay. And so, like, it kind of reminded me, like, of the Winchester Mansion just because there's, like, the architecture of the building, which is of itself confusing because there's, like, the original structure and then, like, some obviously, like, very poorly planned additions. Like, why in the fuck would you have two different disconnected basements? Like, that's incredibly confusing.
I mean, maybe if one of them was intentionally meant as a murder room, the other one was just like a basement.
Alternately, it could have just been like a duplex where like they were two separate houses just built on one foundation.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, so there's like two ways in which this sort of phenomenon is super fascinating. And one is the contents of the house, which is its own discussion. It's mind-bending. And then the other is the physical structure and how disorienting it is.
Yeah.
And so like you can participate in this sort of tour, this ARG-like tour to find this bathtub or whatever you choose to do. Is that they speed run the bathtub now.
Wait, I thought they said the tour was no longer available.
Yeah, it is no longer available.
Well, so within about a day of that appearing, the VR community took all of that data from the tour, used some photogrammetry techniques, and recreated it in VR chat. So you can actually go and walk around it.
Is there a way that we could share that with people? I'd like to put that like with this week's episode.
Yeah, sure.
Gang. Appreciate you, Stu.
Now, it's photogrammetry, and so like the quality of photos don't translate to super high quality textures. So like you would mostly use that one to get the scale of the experience of the building. Like, what is it like to walk around? It's really confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, the whole thing is fascinating. It reminded me of that book, House of Leaves.
Yes.
Where like the house that just keeps getting bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just because of like the nature of my work, I took like a third different path of like, you know, how this thing turned into an ARG, which is like tumbling down the history of building permits for the house, history of ownership changes, history of what type of land use permits exist, like what is allowed to go on in the house, you know, learning about the history of the current owner of the house, you know, like the tragic history of the current owner and his time in and out of jail constantly, kind of like collecting his mugshots. Got up to 7. Got 7 mugshots for this dude.
7 is the number of completion.
And it's a wild thing, because like this house was at one point a daycare, it was a church. At one point there was a permit granted to turn it into a funeral parlor, but it never came to fruition. There was a permit granted for retail use, which is a mixed use permit, meaning like it's zoned for residential and retail, which is what what it's currently zoned as. And the owner, who has been in and out of jail all his adult life, is currently selling on, I'd say, the U.S.'s 2 largest marketplace websites, and he just keeps all of his inventory in that home. And that starts to explain like why there's like duplicates and like whole boxes of like a single DVD and things like that. I read an interview with the guy who owns the home, and he was talking about all of the attention he had received personally since this happened and talking about like ways he was thinking about attempting to monetize it. And he's like, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start selling, autographing copies of the Girls Gone Wild DVDs, because that seems to be what people are wanting.
That's what the people want, huh?
Yeah. And I'm like, I guess there's no way that you can actually like just sell off the filth of the fucking bathtub. Like, although he could probably get good money for that Surge bottle. It started out as like strange and unsettling and disquieting and disorienting. And then like as I went down like the history of like building permits and stuff, and this guy got to be like kind of sad. Like the reason that like it's shaped the way it is that there was like 4 different major expansions to the building during the course of the building's existence. And one of the expansions that occurred was to connect 2 entirely different disconnected structures. Where they're like, okay, like the church owns this building. The church also owns a shed next door. Let's go ahead and knock down this wall and knock down this wall and connect the church to its own shed. And then after they did that, they got a permit for building a basement under what used to be the shed, which is why there's 2 different disconnected basements. And also why there's a sliding wall on the main like mezzanine floor that separates parts of the upstairs. Because that wall kind of exists where the demarcation line was for the original eastern wall of the church building. And the reason that the bathtub is shaped all weird is that the bathtub was never intended to be a bathtub. The bathtub was a baptismal.
Mm.
Right. Which is why it has to have like, stairs into it and be large enough to like have a person who's like 6 feet or more like lay down entirely into it.
That still sounds like the best fucking bathtub.
And the priest just, did shots of Surge in between. Totally lines up.
But one of the things that was mentioned in some of the building permits, which is a shame that like we didn't have an ability to like really access it in the tours do, is that like more than just like the one wall upstairs, the collapsible accordion wall, there are like multiple walls inside of the building which are sliding or movable walls. Like there's a wall and downstairs in one of the basements, which is meant to like separate areas for like youth Bible school. The wall just like slides back and forth to like connect areas for like Bible class. So there's like whole moving walls. The baptismal has a moving wall, so that way people can view a baptism, which makes sense because generally parents view baptism of children and so forth. So like in addition to being as confusing and as weird as it was, there's even more weird shit with moving walls.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We feasted. It was amazing.
So what you're saying is literally what I saw was not only my perfect home, but the best spot for like my cosplay collective of friends to come and work in one spot, and I missed it.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Okay. Well, shit. We gotta find another one.
It definitely.
Boys, we gotta find another one.
We'll build it again in VR. It'll be fine.
I'm sure it exists. Like it's like I heard some people like making like pithy comments during the week, like 8800 Blue Lick Road is my video game of the year 2020. But I do think that as far as like the way it manifested as like a ARG and as like a collective shared experience, it felt a lot like when a video game hits the zeitgeist,
Mm-hmm.
Which was very, very strange, especially since there were like so many different ways to gamify it. And one of the things I always feel bad about with ARGs is that like generally when you get to the end of an ARG, the end of an ARG is always like, great, now buy Stadia, or like something like that, like, because generally in order to mount an ARG, there has to be somebody trying to like meet some kind of like capitalist interest at the end of the trail.
Right, and you just got it up front this time.
Right, and like this one was like, someone's trying to sell this house. Like the capitalist interest was front loaded in the attempt to sell the home, and so like you didn't like get to the end and be like, oh, and the conclusion of this story is by Stadia. So that was nice.
What I thought was kind of fascinating was that it was sort of like decoupled from that.
Yeah.
Like it existed in the ephemera of just the milieu of internet life.
Right.
And it wasn't like some social media team said, hey, wouldn't it be really funny if we asked people to speedrun finding the creepy baptismal font?
Yeah.
they just sort of happened to coexist, and it is super wild. I don't know. It sort of feels like a less toxic 4chan experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. There was a weird between time, the history of the walkthrough, which is where the real estate company hadn't taken down the walkthrough because they hadn't yet sold the house, but they found that the only way they could sustain the traffic on the website was if they removed the ability to get to the bathtub. And so the whole walkthrough worked except for the bathtub. And so, like, there was a whole group of people who came to this thing late and had this, like, really weird, maddening experience because, like, where they heard, like, go check out this house, go check out this house. And it's not like the real estate company, like, hung out a sign that said, now with less bathtub, where those folks just spent, like, hours in there, like, looking for the tub, driving themselves insane. Which is a whole other layer, because, like, Stu and I got in there early enough that we didn't have that experience, but, like, there were people who came to this thing and they're like, oh man, I don't even believe the tub exists. Crazy. Good times. So thank you, Rocky.
Once again, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll accept the praise.
You put it in chat and said, Brian, go look at this before the next episode.
Whatever you say, man.
Goodness.
Stu, you have more VR stuff here, right?
I do have some more VR stuff because we're coming out of the Halloween season. Everybody's playing lots of horror. And I just have to say, guys, horror is really good in VR. Like, if you're there to get scared, yeah, throw on an immersive headset. Some of the standouts were like Phasmophobia. I don't know if you guys have tried that yet.
I haven't played it, but I've seen some playthroughs.
Alex has been playing it in VR.
Yeah, it can get really creepy in VR, as long as you don't get motion sick. Apparently that's a thing for that one.
I mean, if his screams are any indicator, you're correct.
It's kind of amazing. And it sort of, like, I don't know, breathed new life into Blair Witch. I think they re-released that on Oculus.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, it's one that really benefits from the immersion, and the time mechanic in it feels different. It's just kind of amazing how that kind of, like, visceral game just, like, sort of excels in VR. So if you've been sitting on the fence on any of those, definitely go do it.
Okay, but, like, how does the act of wearing a headset differentiate the experience from, say, you know, just sitting in the dark playing, like, Amnesia or whatever?
So the real answer is probably rooted in psychology or something.
Okay.
Like, when you put on the VR headset, for most people, your brain just kind of, like, starts working with it. Once you get past that phase where you're motion sick randomly because your brain's sort of acclimating to it, your brain just sort of starts accepting some of the things that it's seeing a little bit more eagerly.
Okay.
And so that it creates this sort of, even though one-to-one it may look the same as what you see on a monitor, your brain will sort of accept it immersively a little bit faster, a little bit deeper. And so when you play something like a horror where you have spatial audio, like 3D audio, and you're hearing things behind you and you have to physically turn to see what's going on, and you're crouching to hide from things as opposed to just hitting the C button, your brain sort of interprets it differently. So that's sort of why I think horror especially, but I think that's why some of these games one-to-one tend to be more impactful in VR.
Okay, I get that. Like, I mean, I know there are bits, especially like in Resident Evil and Silent Hill, that like take advantage of like what the game lets you see. And if like you're more likely to accept those things at face value in VR, I can see how that could be effective.
Yeah. There's some really interesting thought pieces on what separates VR, like the same game, right, in VR versus in sort of a pancake mode, which is the idea of, like, in design, game design, you're oftentimes in a traditional 2D projected game, like 3D game on a monitor. You're talking about, like, the horizon. You're talking about giving cues to the player to know where to go, you know. And so, like, God of War is a really good example of that. But in VR, your focus is on the intimate. So it's the things that you can touch. It's the ability to pick things up and to wiggle your fingers, or water in Half-Life Alyx, for example. Those two fundamental differences will take the exact same game and kind of spin it into something new.
Okay.
So I am probably like the perennial VR cynic on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With good reason.
I think that has a lot to do with like just the absolute deluge of like shooting galleries and the land rush of VR has led to a bunch of like uninspired development. And one thing that like always like rubs my rhubarb is whenever there's a bunch of bad development happening on a new platform, and it's made even worse when like the bad development is happening in like an entirely new space, because I always worry that like what that's doing is slowing good development in that space.
Yeah.
Or slowing, customer curiosity or customer acceptance of like a new delivery method. Like there's so many people out there who like you ask them, well, what do you think VR is? And their idea of VR is still something along the lines of like Lawnmower Man. Yeah, it's like worlds within worlds, green grids, monochrome like guys. And when it comes to like VR and horror, the thing I worry about is like what percentage of VR horror titles are jump scares. Like you've got a helmet on, like looking for this intimate experience, and now all of a sudden like there's a thing that's just like right in front of your face going ooga booga. How much of that is there?
So there's a fair amount, simply because of the stage we're in with regard to the hardware. So the hardware only recently became good enough for the kinds of experiences we're talking about. Before that, you were lucky if you could find 6 degrees of freedom in anything. Mostly you just had 3 with like, the Google Chrome style, put your phone in it stuff. And we're completely excluding some of the remarkably tragic things that happened like in the 80s and 90s. So all of the stuff that came from the 3 degree of freedom push, that initial Google Cardboard push, which was cool, it was all like on rails. So in order to do horror on rails, you almost always have to have jump scares. There's not a lot of option in it because you're on rails. So anytime you have we saw this with the Ouya, you see this with almost everything. Anytime you have a new piece of hardware come out with like a new market, the shovelware just starts showing up. It's like, well, I've got this back library of really terrible games that worked on something related to it. Maybe I can make a few extra bucks. Maybe I can sell it at full price on this new platform. So you do have a lot of what you're talking about. You do have a lot of maybe even reskinned versions of those games that look pretty good, but they're really the same thing. It's also shooters and stuff like that. But I don't think it's unique to that platform. I think the size of the library isn't as big, because you still see that with first-person shooters on consoles. You still see that in the mobile space. You see that all the time. So,
okay. So horror in game design is really starting to like crawl out of jump scares.
Yeah.
Very recently, like stuff like Resident Evil is still very much like reliant upon dogs crashing through the window, but we're just starting to see like games which are doing things like building like creeping dread and like suspense as their primary tools for fear. I feel like though that evolution could conceivably be faster in VR. Do you think that's a good instinct? Like because of the way you relate to objects and you relate to spaces, it seems like it'd be, now that we have more degrees of freedom, it'd be easier to get away from the jump scares.
Yeah, I think so. VR chat, one of the things that makes VR chat interesting is the creator tools are all Unity. So it's built in Unity. You build Unity packages and upload it to their servers, and they share that out. So that's how you build worlds. That's how you build avatars and animations. And they have a pretty robust system, in addition to leaning on Unity itself, which is a feature complete engine. And they have these things they do where they do like I think right now it's still technically going on. I don't know. They do like the Halloween celebration where it's like they, a bunch of giveaways for people who create the best worlds and stuff like that. And so inside of those, you see a lot of people actively exploring what horror means to them. And sometimes it's very narrative oriented, or sometimes it's escape rooms, or sometimes it is jump scares. But you see a lot of little mechanisms popping up in that kind of thing. That just sort of shows like how the platform in general sort of will feed that sort of development. So I don't think it's crazy what you're saying. I don't think it's crazy at all to say that evolution is going to be much faster once the market money starts spinning around some of those companies.
Okay. And apparently you were doing some like non-fucking around with horror in VR this week as well?
Well, some non-gaming stuff in VR, yeah. Not specifically horror, though. I guess there was some, but it's really easy to think about VR in this like binary term of like, oh, VR is all about games. And it's like, well, a lot of it. But I mean, there's a reason that businesses use it for training and for, industrial purposes. But like, I actually started seeing cultural things happening in VR. Like I went to my first VR rave, like a music festival, sort of electronica, like sort of 90s style.
Who'd you go see?
Well, it was put on by on Twitter, Virtual Bass, and it's just a whole bunch of DJs. I don't actually know these DJs, so
Okay.
they're I guess relatively unknown. But it was just like big to dos, and they stream it on Twitch so you could watch. But yeah, you go in and like people in full body tracking got their legs on, dancing around, having a good time, and it felt very familiar to me from growing up in the 90s and stuff. Some of the platforms, there's people do open mic stuff. So like people who want to practice performing, like, singing, songwriters, do it with a guitar or whatever. They'll like pop up in like VR chat or alt space VR and just have like impromptu open mic nights at like the bars, and people hang out and listen and, applaud. It's like it's a thing,
Never even.
Comedy shows. I went to a comedy show.
Jeez. Yeah, it's just like kind of performance, like community spaces.
Yeah. So a lot of like small time comedians, like not like the major crew, they don't have anywhere to cut their teeth on new material right now because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they started doing shows most of these are in alt space, but you can find them in VR chat periodically. And especially if you follow the comedians that do it, they'll post when they do it. And you can go and you can like hang out and check out their stand up. And then usually they'll hang out afterwards and talk to people and stuff. It's really, it's kind of fascinating that so much culture has moved into VR.
Do you think the amount of culture moving into VR will accelerate our look at full dive technology?
I'm trying to think of how to answer that. Maybe. Yes, I think that it's just about sort of having critical mass in adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we inch closer to that every day. I don't think we're there. I know Jim Ryan sort of came out and said that he was like, the future of VR is not right now, or something like that. It's not next year probably either. And he's right. He's right about that. But I think it's evolving and we're coming to it. The new stuff is coming out with tracking facial expressions with cameras inside the headsets.
Okay.
They're tracking hands instead of necessarily requiring like wands and, hand controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get those new power gloves.
Right. Well, the Oculus Quest and Quest 2 can just do it without gloves. Your hands, it just sees them.
Wild.
And now it's early stages in that tech, so it's not necessarily as tried and true as, say, a gamepad.
Right.
But, that's the first step. So something interesting on this front, though, there's like every stage of immersion has its own kind of overview effect, right?
Okay.
So overview effect, right? Like you go to the moon or something, you turn around and you see the Earth, and you're like, oh my God, I've got an overview effect. Astronauts get it. So every bit of immersion has that. So like the minute a person puts on generally high quality VR gear and plays a high quality game, right? A game that is not built that will give them motion sickness, for example. They always come back saying like, whoa, what just happened? Like, they were like, that was amazing. I want to go back. Put me back in. And, then they get their gear and they start using it in VR chat, and they start seeing people with, like with finger tracking, like they've got the Valve Index, so it'll track their fingers so they can do really minute gestures with their hands while they're talking. And there's this level of immersion that happens where your brain just picks up on it and is like, this is even more real. And then there's the people who do full body tracking where they have like sensors on their feet and their hips, or wherever. You can put them all over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much more realistic than the step before it that it's like it's its own kind of mind blow. And so, I feel like the full dive is probably 2 or 3 mind blows past where we're at now.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think it's outside of what's going to happen. Like, I think so long as people sort of stick with the idea, I think it'll happen pretty fast.
Is there like a fear of like, I mean, arguably like our current state, maybe in the United States more than other places, our current circumstances are creating an interesting test case for like iteration in like VR. Like they're getting a lot more data because there's more people sitting around indoors as opposed to like outdoors. Is there worry that at any point where, let's say, we start moving more toward like outdoors is the norm again, like, the vaccine is stable, or people decide to just say fuck it and like if they die, they die.
Yeah.
Is there a concern that influx of data is not sustainable?
I have not seen evidence that is a concern for people, like beyond, sort of an armchair, I wonder. But I haven't seen like any, like none of the big decisions that companies are making are driven on that projection, right? And the people who are enthusiastic about it have been enthusiastic about it for years now.
Okay.
I think the reality is that the world of VR with regard to people like Microsoft or PlayStation, I mean, they have their hands full right now, but even moving forward, I think the reality is that everybody's looking at Facebook and seeing what happens. They kind of want to know. It's kind of like, all right, but you go first.
Yeah.
So depending on how that goes, and I think the latest report I saw said something like it's the Quest 2 is selling 8 times what the Quest 1 did.
Oh.
Wild. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much of that has to be like Facebook soaking a significant part of the manufacturing cost? Like the Quest 2 is cheap.
I think a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a good amount, but I'm not actually convinced that they're actually soaking it. I think that we think they're soaking it because that's a common strategy that businesses have. I think that Facebook. Oh, can we shit on Facebook? Can we go to that?
Let's shit on Facebook.
No, but I think some of it is just that Facebook looks at some of that cost of production as actually being tied to a different revenue stream for things like trapping biometric data and then reselling that and doing really creepy things.
It's not a bad position to hold, honestly. Hold on. There is a thing I wanted to talk about that is Facebook adjacent, but I have to go back to video games. I'm sorry for like a second.
No, let's do it.
So Nintendo did a partner direct. Fun fact, the partner direct is not actually in our news this week, but one of the things that they announced is that Nintendo is going to have Control on the Switch, but available through cloud in places that are not just Japan. And they have an application that basically you download the Control Cloud Edition Access version or whatever, where basically you have to like prove that your connection can handle the game for about 5 minutes. And if so, then the game will allow you to buy the full version for like $40. And they plan to do the same thing for Hitman, I think. I'm not even...
3.
Yeah, this Hitman 3?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That is a slightly different approach to cloud gaming than what we've seen for a couple of other people. Like, Microsoft seems to be prioritizing cloud gaming for, like, access to make sure you have your games in more places, while Sony has, maybe not albeit successfully, chosen to use cloud gaming to allow access to, like, their back catalog of games on previous systems rather than just, like, reselling them or repackaging them as remasters. And, Stadia, like, bet the farm on cloud gaming. Not exactly sure what Amazon's planning to do yet, but Facebook has decided to enter the realm of cloud gaming through like free-to-play games that are like rife with microtransactions, and all I'm left with is why? Like, why do that? Who asked for this? I wish I could play my shitty free-to-play solitaire on my phone, but I guess only if it doesn't take up space on my phone? Like, I don't know. Seems ridiculous.
I think the worst part about what you just said is that they're probably going to make a killing on it.
Well, they are. That's true. That's still going to work. But, like, there has to be a significant amount, and maybe not so because of how resource light the games themselves are probably, is that are they going to lose enough money running these cloud servers rather than letting people just download them on their phones versus, like, the microtransaction money they end up making from the games, which they were probably going to make anyways. But I don't know. Haven't done that math. Because it's not like the games weren't already available. Like, they're not really saying, hey, here are new games that are only exclusive on our cloud platform. It's just, hey, we're entering cloud gaming, and we're starting with microtransaction, free-to-play mobile games.
This is probably a reaction to two things by Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
One is, I can't think of a single platform holder who has spent more time invested in the low to no cost initial acquisition of a game, huge upside microtransaction market than Facebook. When Facebook launched Facebook Gaming, and we got the original, like, giant movers on it, which were Farmville and Mafia, Facebook's idea of what a Facebook gaming customer was looked like that. For them, gaming customers who are not seeking microtransaction-driven incremental social experiences. Because remember, one of the things that like Farmville and Mafia also did was make you bother your friends all the time, which is why integration into a social network was so key for their design. But the other thing about them, which is I think where Facebook gets into like where they think they're saving money in the long run by having this run off a cloud, is that those games ran on Flash. And we are very quickly reaching the last day to run Flash. Like, Flash is already not supported. All of these different, like, web-based revenue streams, which, like, bet the farm and built an empire around Flash. Now that Flash doesn't work anymore, there's this question of, like, oh, well, do you rebuild the old things in, like, you know, HTML5, or do you, like, what do you do? And I can see, like, Facebook trying to run their shitty microtransaction-laden free-to-play games in a cloud to, like, insulate themselves from, like, changes in hardware and changes in, like, you know, what becomes, like, the default language of the internet. Like, how do people make things? If everything runs off the cloud, then all people have to do is get to it. One of the things that I've, you know, been seeing is that, like, with the shift in architecture for Macs, that we may soon see a whole generation of pieces of software that no longer run on Macs. Because how long did Apple bet on Intel and then started going with their own proprietary ARM chips? And there's questions about, like, you know, pieces of software that'll no longer run on Macs. And I think that, like, Facebook is like, look, if we can just get you to tend your shitty farm from a cloud, then you'll always be able to tend your shitty farm. We control whether or not the shitty farm runs.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, Farmville is 11 years old. 11 years old.
I don't need that shitty farm anymore. I got Animal Crossing. Not Animal Crossing, the other one. Story Seasons. Fuck.
Shout outs to the new Story Seasons.
Yeah, shout outs to the new Story Seasons. I'm already excited.
But Tegan, Story of Seasons doesn't make you engage with your friends on a social media platform every few minutes.
Straight up the worst part of Farmville. Like, in and out. Like, whether you're doing it or, like, you're receiving those messages. Yeah. It's all terrible.
It's the, find out which one of your friends value you the least tool. Because they're like...
That's so true.
Yep.
I feel like it's just, like, Addiction the Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I wanted to be a crack whore, I could just play Farmville instead and get the same experience.
There are people who are, like, paying other people money, real money, to help tend their fucking Farmville farms. Such bullshit.
And that's all done at the end of December when Flash dies.
Well, unless like Facebook moves over. I hope that, even though they won't, but I hope that if Facebook is trying to preserve Flash games on their own cloud platform, for their own benefit, I hope they actually do a curated list in the flavor of Apple Arcade, but it's just like the best of Newgrounds, after they inevitably buy Newgrounds. That could be dope. But, they're not going to do it.
I'm surprised that Newgrounds isn't for sale.
Oh, I mean, Facebook has the money. They could just decide Newgrounds is for sale.
Yeah. But considering how financially troubled the owner of Newgrounds is, I'm surprised that Newgrounds isn't for sale. Shout out to GameStop.
GameStop owns Newgrounds?
Yes.
Huh.
Wait, what? Really?
I didn't know that.
That's stupid. They should be making more money.
Yeah. So back during the early days of like a panicked company not knowing what the future held, before they were like, fuck it, all in on Funko Pops. Before they went all in on Funko Pops, GameStop bought Newgrounds. Because like, this is the way of the future. Shitty Flash games are where the future is. And then they were wrong.
But like, oh man. Like imagine if like GameStop.com and Newgrounds was the same website. God damn it.
Yep. Man. So, Stu, we had a good long talk earlier this week where I think I just like kind of like shouted at you and I was like, what is wrong with your phone? Or like, explain your phone to me.
That's yeah. I have a weird phone.
And
I mean, how weird is it? Because, Brian bumps heads with technology like all the time.
I think that's just a very nice way of saying Brian is old.
Shots fired. So I have a Pine phone, which is...
You have a pine cone?
Yeah. A Pine phone?
Oh, okay. Pine phone.
Yeah, a phone made by Pine 64. They do system on chip stuff, like kind of like Raspberry Pi, but they do their own thing.
Okay.
And so it is a phone built from the ground up specifically for Linux.
Oh, all right.
And it is early in development. I think it's still technically, I feel like it's an alpha. I don't know.
Shit, an alpha? Jesus.
So a lot of this, it's not daily driver, but it is fun. And he was asking me about that, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so you have a Pine phone.
Can it fold in half?
Hopefully it doesn't.
Does it?
Because it's not supposed to.
Okay. Does it cost like $6,000 billion and my firstborn child?
It actually looks a lot like a Pixel to me.
No.
Okay.
But I accept the offer, but it costs about $100 to $150.
That's it?
That seems really affordable.
Yeah. So they're working directly with factories. They're already set up to building the hardware that goes into the phone for their system on chip stuff. So it's kind of neat. It's an adventure.
Does it work well?
Well, you did say it's an adventure.
It's
Does it function better as a phone or as a computer?
right now it's sort of in between. It's
It functions as neither.
Right. So right now they're working on developing the drivers for some of the hardware, and they have bugs and stuff like that. So an example is right now my phone, when it goes to sleep, sometimes the LTE modem won't wake up properly. So I have to reboot the machine or the computer.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, it's not a daily driver right now, but it's early. They just started coming out sometime earlier this year, I think.
Okay, but like you have a $150 phone that is buggy and still being figured out. What's the appeal?
It is, well, it's for tinkerers. It's for people who just like to play with stuff.
Okay.
And also, they're doing all of this in front of people. So, like, Google had to do the same thing with Android. Apple did the same thing with its original iPhone. It's just it did it behind closed doors.
That's true. Right.
And so this is all about collaborating with the community to do it. So all of the software on it is, well, it's open source, but it's all community built.
So
100% of it.
Is it more that like we built a phone together, or we know what went into this phone? Or I guess both would apply, but I'm asking like which has a bigger slice?
So hardware wise, Pine Phone makes the phone. Like they have selected the stuff. They have engineers that do the tests on them and stuff like that. Software-wise, you are free to install whatever you want on it. And the community works together to try and get things to successfully install on it. So there's tons of different versions of Linux. There's a couple of versions of Android, I think, or Android derivative stuff like maybe Sailfish OS and some of those things most people haven't heard of. So like, it's not a daily driver. I wouldn't recommend it to the average phone user, but if you already know what Linux is and you're like, it'd be fun if this was on a phone, that's where you go.
Fair enough. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah. I think most of the people listening to this podcast would probably know about the Raspberry Pi's RetroPie for like the retro game emulation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this would be interesting for that kind of stuff as well.
I think at the very least, Tuan will probably bite into it. He'll do some research.
Sure.
I think the thing that really just like fascinated me about it was that there's so many different like segments of various hobbies where there is like a space for, you know, the tinkerer, the builder, you know, be it like the guy who like buys the old car he wants to restore, or, you know, the person who wants to like build like an emulation box, or like maybe get like actually I feel like a mister might be like a better analog now with the weird stuff that people are kind of doing with misters. I hadn't really considered, you know, up until I saw yours, like the idea of like the hobbyist phone, like just like turning the experience of owning a phone into a hobby. I was like, oh shit, like that's, you know, like I could see like a phone being a place where your hobby happens, but not the phone itself like being the hobby. So just, it struck me as fascinating in that way, because like, you know, we talked about the idea of like visible versus invisible technology, and phones have increasingly become invisible technology. You know, people don't really think about them. They're like their toothbrush.
Yeah.
You like, you don't really engage with your toothbrush. You don't really think about your toothbrush. This seemed to be like kind of like phones seem to be like pushing in the same direction. So to see a phone, you know, not do that, like be like, no, please consider me. Please think about me, the phone. It's like that's so wild.
So in a world where Apple, for example, actively tries to prevent people from repairing their phone, you know, in fact, most manufacturers kind of do that, you know, where you're not allowed to replace a battery in stuff. Like in that world, this is a phone that the entire schematic of the phone is available for download as a PDF. The 3D information on this phone is available, so you can 3D print your own hardware for it if you want, like your own, you know, phone backs and cases and whatever you want. They don't care. I can, from the manufacturer, directly purchase any individual part. I can go in and do whatever, and it doesn't void a warranty. So it is definitely a paradigm shift that maybe comes sort of like, I guess, sort of under the radar.
Those types of things, like, I'm worried about, like, how fragile they might be. I don't want to defend right to repair, because I definitely think it's insane. Or, like, you know, the people who are fighting against right to repair. But I do recognize it as, like, a bit of a liability issue. If not, like, only, like, quality control. And I like the idea of people being able to control their own hardware and being able to repair it or care for it.
Yeah.
But I do know that there's enough bad actors that would, like, you know, 3D print a circuit like improperly, put it into their phone and it fries, and then like sue PinePhone over it. And I'm worried that something like that might happen to them. I wonder if there's any protections in place, and I wonder if there are enough.
I think there's probably liability related protection. Yeah. Especially like with regard to litigation.
Right.
One of the things that they sort of talk about is using the platform as a way to create jobs in the hacker maker spaces.
True.
So, for example, if I have a problem with my phone that I can't personally fix, the expected course of action is if it's not, you know, a function of the warranty, right? Is that you reach out to the inside the community, to more of the people who already are working on these phones that are at the hacker maker spaces downtown or whatever, and get them to help you. I think it's just sort of is designed to reinforce it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the paradigm shift is kind of possibly what alleviates some of the stressors that you're seeing. If they tried to maintain Apple's approach to hardware, I think that they might reasonably expect what you're suggesting.
Right.
But because their system is the architecture of their business is different, I think maybe it's not as much of an issue.
I'd like to look into it.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, if nothing else.
Okay, hold on, Stu. I do want to get to this PSVR interview because I do know that we kind of like danced around it. But Brian, can we get a wine update?
I'm sorry, what?
A wine update.
Yeah,
Oh,
wine update. Not
okay.
a wine update, a wine
That
update.
is. Thank you, Tegan. That is exactly what I heard. It's like, what the fuck is a
Yeah.
wine update?
Nope, not that. The opposite of that. A wine update. Give us an update on the wine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have not made any new wine in the intervening time. However,
Mm-hmm.
what I have had is people reach out to me and tell me what terrible things they want me to do to myself with my bruisey.
Because we love and care about you.
I guess there's that. Let's see here. We've got half grape Gatorade, half Ocean Spray cran grape. Once it's done fermenting, rim the fucking glass in pixie sticks. Also, please make wine from generic Kool-Aid grape packets. I don't fucking know. Do it.
Where I'm from, we call that purple.
Yeah, it's just the perp, man.
It's just purple.
Purple drink.
Like-
Brand new purple drink.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And, like, I kind of like how it all just, like, builds into, I don't fucking know, do it. Just, like...
Well, Brad, you have to remember what you said last week. Like, you were definitely like, oh, I think it'd be cool if, like, our listeners were like, he's drinking garbage shits. Like, you know,
Yeah.
this was gonna happen.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you literally did that.
And I guess what I wanted... Here's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't address this to our listeners. Listeners, you can do better.
Okay,
Okay.
get yourself... I would like you to get yourself some of the brand new peach and honey Mountain Dew and make that a wine. Because I feel like peach and honey are already delicious things. And, like, that should be a thing. Like, peach honey wine is a thing.
Oh, yeah, and my coworker that listened to the show, whose daughter is a fan of Tegan, asked that you make a cherry wine because she likes cherries.
Ooh, that sounds good too. Also, hello. Hello, girl. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you. I make heart. You can't see it. I'm making heart.
Oh, man.
I mean, I need... Okay, here's my mission to our audience. I'm going to give you a theme, and you come back to me with the recipes.
Uh-huh. All right.
I need a wine suitable for drinking from Sean Connery's skull. So,
Jesus.
come back at me with your flavors. Come back at me with your recipes. Just hit me with that weird shit. Hit me with that weird shit. I'll make it. And I'll drink the garbage live during recording, so that way you get to experience the first reaction of the taste. But it's like
I actually need to video that for the Instagram. It's not negotiable.
Heave take.
yeah, I could do that. I will do that.
Thank you.
I can't wait. Special recording just for the Instagram.
It means I
It'll
actually.
be Instagram Live, actually. No, we won't. It won't.
It means I have to put on a fucking shirt.
Yeah, man, put on a fucking shirt. Jesus.
No. Shirts are optional.
Jesus. Back to our OnlyFans.
It's Brian installing the fridge, actually.
Brian has to fly to Ohio to install my Xbox fridge.
Brian's.
Robert Redford will be there, apparently. He won't be allowed inside.
So yeah, like when I get like, oh, could you do like half grape and half cran grape? Like, come on, like
Well, it's like 3/4 grape.
exactly.
Quarter
Like,
cran.
it's like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's ooh, that's so scary. Like, no, like make me shudder in fear.
Oh, so when you said do better, you didn't mean make a tastier wine. You're asking them to scare you.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fine. That wasn't clear initially.
Okay. All right. You know, like And I guess not necessarily scare me, because, like, scared... No, Rocky. Scared me that is a path they could take. Like, like, when they're, like, setting out... You know how, like, when you start Sonic Adventure 2, like, there's two different, like, paths you could take. You can either take the hero's or the villain's journey.
Yeah.
Like, I think your hero's journey is, like, just put garbage in my mouth. The villain's journey is a wine suitable for drinking out of Sean Connery's skull. So, you could try either. Just, like, straight up scare me, or you could think on the theme and pursue the theme.
I'm gonna let that slide, because Brian decided to speak for a moment kindly of Sonic Adventure 2, which is something that's never happened on this podcast, so I'll go ahead and let that rock.
Probably because I spent some time with Sonic Adventure 2 this week on my RG351P.
See, I knew it. Brian also plays in levels. Go ahead, Brian. Go off.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Like, and the reason I specifically wanted to play some Sonic Adventure 2 is that it's one of those games which is kind of like benchmark game for, like, emulation. Like, when people are like, okay, like, run X, Y, and Z to make sure your emulator is working correctly. Generally, one of the best ones for Dreamcast for spot checking audio issues is Sonic Adventure 2.
Gotta get that butt rock.
Yep. And the reason is like, the butt rock during City Escape will just explode with bad emulation.
Well, give them a chance, dude. They're rolling around at the speed of sound.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. But, like, I sat there and I played through all of City Escape, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this isn't bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Sonic Adventure 2 is good.
Keep going, I swear.
And,
God damn it.
and so then I kept at it, and I'm just like, I don't know when the collapse of the series happened, but it had to happen after Sonic Adventure 2.
It did! It happened after Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2 is good!
That's what we told you, Brian. You owe us an apology. This is bullshit.
You owe Rocky some sushi.
You actually do owe me some sushi, you motherfucker. Stu, you made... No, yeah, you listen to the show. You know what's going on. You know what this is.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Oh, yes.
So...
Go ahead, talk about Sonic Adventure 2. Like, just keep going. Ugh.
But yeah, I've been screwing around some more with my RG351P. I have one of the ones that actually has Wi-Fi in it, because they took the Wi-Fi out to reduce costs, and the reason for that was, like, the lowest I could get it out the door to customers with Wi-Fi was $110, and they thought the people would hate that, and so they took the Wi-Fi out, because taking the Wi-Fi out makes it $100.
I'll pay $10 for Wi-Fi. It's like being at a hotel.
And
Just get to hold in my hands.
But I've been doing some stuff like installing some total conversions for, like, Super Mario 64. Playing some stuff I've always wanted to play, like Mario 64 The Lost Stars, which is like a pretty well-known, like, total conversion for the game. It like adds, like, a day-night cycle to the castle, and, like, reconfigures a lot of the levels. It adds, like, new NPCs, new quest givers. It adds Luigi and gives him, like, different jump physics than Mario. And so, like, you have stars which are only attainable as Mario and stars which are only attainable as Luigi. So that's been pretty cool. Something else which I've been playing around with, which I've never had a chance to play before, is I've never had a chance to play any of the Satellaview games that came out for the Super Famicom. Because, like, how realistically would I have had a chance to play those games? And so, like, I've been playing BS Zelda, which is the Satellaview Legend of Zelda game. Okay, Tegan, you're a Zelda expert.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am the resident Zelda expert, yes.
Okay, Zelda games with voice acting.
Uh-huh.
What is the earliest Zelda game with voice acting?
With full voice acting, or with any voice acting?
Both.
With... Oh, I hate this. I'm being pained. The earliest game that was released that's a Zelda game, technically, are the CDI games.
What was it called?
Nope, you can't make me say them.
Tegan, like, people aren't gonna know.
Those were the first two. Yeah, they are. The Game Grumps did a playthrough of both of them.
Tegan,
I mean, our listeners aren't gonna know the names of the Zelda.
Tegan, I don't watch fucking Game Grumps. You can't assume that our audience...
Brian, you've seen Game Grumps. You watch Mark Zuckerberg, okay? Like, relax.
It's, The Legend of Zelda Wand of Gamelon and Link the Faces of Evil. Link the Faces of Evil came out first. Technically, those are the first two fully voice-act Zelda games. But if you go by, like, not that, then Link to the Past was the first game that had, like, vocal cues for Link in the game. But probably most people would consider Ocarina of Time the first game that had, like, voice acting for the majority of characters. Full voice acting, though, didn't come in until, I'm pretty sure, like, Skyward Sword with, like, proper... Skyward Sword with, like, more proper cutscenes. But really, like, Breath of the Wild had, like, the first, like, full, like, all the lines were vocalized by the characters sort of deal. Except Link, obviously. You know, in, like, all the cutscenes. So it depends on how far... Technically the CDI games, but I hate to say it because they're bad.
Okay, so missing out of that description is BS Zelda.
Wait.
So when Zelda came out on the Satellaview, because of the way the game was delivered, you know, like, transmitted over, like, satellite to people's, like, weird Satellaview add-ons for their Super Famicoms.
Oh yeah, the game that is just a remake of the original Legend of Zelda.
Right. But it's weird because it's got fucking voice acting in it.
Yeah, but, like, no one can play it.
Well, unless...
I mean, you can play it, apparently, but, like, I can't play it.
I think what that means is that Brian needs to play it on stream so Tegan can see it.
Yeah, I think that means that you have to play it on stream, and you have to stop whenever I need you to so that I can take notes.
Tegan?
Yeah?
No.
Aww. Well, okay,
show.
can we save the stream as video on demand then so I can pause it when I need it? Is that fair?
This all still assumes I'm going to be streaming this game.
Yeah, that's the assumption. Still stands.
Yeah, no.
Aww. Why not?
Imagine if there was a platform that allowed you to stream video games.
Uh-huh.
And there were video games that you could stream.
Uh-huh.
But by streaming those games, you're kind of saying, I had to acquire this game through dark business. It seems like a good way to get your...
I mean...
It sounds like a lot of retro streaming, actually.
Well, alright, here's the thing. Like, if I just play Excite Bike on my stream, then there is a chance that I have a legitimate copy of Excite Bike. There's a chance I am legitimately streaming a real copy of Excite Bike. If I stream BS Zelda, there is no way that I can be playing it legitimately.
Okay, but here's the thing, Brian. Who's going to come after you? Television? Like, I guess maybe Nintendo, but, like, really, though? I don't know, man. I feel like this is an issue without an actual, like, consequence.
Or maybe a thing that I can explain in more detail when we're not recording.
I mean, rude, but also, like, no one can play it, though. I want to see it. How do you... What's the only legit way you could play it, then? You own a Satellaview?
No, because if you own a Satellaview, you still can't play it legitimately. Because what the Satellaview does is, in order to play the game, you had to have the game, like, saved into the memory on your Satellaview cartridge. And so then you turn on the Satellaview, which then attempts to call home to Mama and verify a connection to the Satellaview server. If it could verify a connection to the Satellaview server, which no longer exists, then it would let you play your copy. So
what if you get somebody to stand behind you and film it on, like, a VHS tape, and then upload it saying, hey, I found this old video?
I mean, technically, emulated versions of the game fall into a legal gray area. Because, they do contain proprietary material, but don't have any substantial effect upon the work's value. since, Nintendo sees support for them. So, I think you're still okay, theoretically. And besides, Nintendo's mostly turned a blind eye to any Satellaview emulations. Mostly.
Horse shit.
Fight the power, Brian.
Tegan's out of here peddling horse shit.
Nintendo power.
Brian has a terrifying hidden ace that he doesn't want to discuss on the show, so we'll move on. Tegan, do you have a bullet point here that just says "It's that time now" with a smiley face?
Yeah, it's that time. It's that time. It's that time. You know what happened today in Ohio, on November 1st?
No, we don't know.
It snowed. You know what that means? Literally everywhere was playing Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. It snowed. That was it. We're done with Halloween. All the fall decorations are gone. It's Christmas time. That's it. There wasn't even, usually there's a little leeway at least, but no, the snow immediate. It's just yep, Christmas. All right. Well, I guess it's time for All I Want for Christmas Is You. And I have a tree up. So, yep. We're there.
Just woke up, the tree was there?
Yeah, I woke up, it was there, it was decorated. It's got garland on it and stuff. Twinkle lights, next to my fireplace. It's like Santa came, but not. But it was Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey does a pretty good Santa. Yes, Brian?
It snowed.
Does that mean if it snowed in Ohio that when your riots happen on Tuesday, you're going to get snowball fights?
Potentially, if there's enough snow. Right now it's not really sticking, it's mostly slushy and wet. But that does mean that theoretically you could sled to the polls because the ground will be frozen. They'll have that layer of ice on top, so you could get in a sled and push yourself down the street instead of having to drive your vehicle.
That's so exciting.
Also, no one knew how to drive today, so there was that too.
It's the first day of snow, that happens.
Yeah, that just happened. I don't understand why. We get this every year. Ohio, it's coming. This was the last weather most of us drove in. Come on. It shouldn't be that hard.
I don't know how much you guys know about the writing of Frankenstein. And if I were to say the phrase, the year without a summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am familiar.
Okay. As, weather started to turn colder and still remain hypothetical to me, I'm man, Brian has been in this house since March, and now things are starting to cool down. It takes longer for things to cool down in Arizona, but things are now starting to cool down. It's downright chilly at night. I don't know about if it's chilly where you are, Stu, but it's pretty fucking chilly here at night. But it kind of feels like I completely and totally opted out of an Arizona summer. I've never done that before, but yeah, well, fuck it. It's 115 degrees outside. Who cares? I'm just in this house. So, I don't know. Thanks, pandemic? It's weird. It's weird to be whole seasons have passed and I didn't interact with the seasons. It's a strange feeling.
I mean, I interacted with the seasons. I just interacted with them literally the same way I do all the time. The stuff starts growing. I lock myself inside because of allergies. I try to go outside as little as possible in the summer. And then it's winter again and I'm happy. There has been no change.
Okay.
But, Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Brian, since your thing is retiring, I think we should use it to retire our banter section. I want to get to Stu's PSVR Jim Ryan interview thing.
Okay. Honestly, I feel like we've been running long, so we don't need to talk any wrestling. So, and it's not like anybody here watches any wrestling, so fuck it.
I watch some wrestling. Fuck off.
I watch a little bit of wrestling, but not as much as you do. I'm starting with highlight reels on YouTube, so I'm getting there. Baby steps.
But a wrestler who I greatly admire, absolute king of the death match, Matt Tremont, he retired on Friday night, had his final match against Ricky Shane Page, and it was a absolute wild thing to see. The whole ring was lined with 200 light tubes. Anywhere that the two competitors moved in the ring, they were going to end up coming up against tubes. At one point, Tremont was on the outside, and so Ricky Shane Page did a tope suicida in order to tackle him, which meant he dove through light tubes. And there was this structure near the ring, which was about 15 feet up in the air, And Ricky Shane Page is about 300 pounds. And, like, Matt Tremont's, like, maybe $3.50, $3.75. And so these, like, two big boys do a fucking Canadian destroyer off this thing 15 feet in the air into the ring was wild. Like, the absolute thing was just, like, the whole ring was just covered in glass and blood, and they told this, like, half-hour story about, Tremont wanting to go out on a win in order to honor his friend Danny Havoc, who died earlier this year, and at various points in their match, like, Ricky Shane Page's, like, evil acolytes would attack the ring, to hurt the weakened Tremont. At one point, like, Tremont's wife hopped in the ring and, like, started, like, swinging tubes at, like, Ricky Shane Page. Big, gorgeous match, like, easily one of my favorite matches this year, period. And it's wild, like, I'd say that, like, most of my favorite matches from 2020 have either involved a guy called Alex Colon or Matt Tremont. It was definitely a match of the year contender. It's available now on IWTV Live. If you have a membership at Indie Wrestling, you can watch that whole night. It was part of a 2-night event put on by promotion H2O Wrestling called The Last Extravaganza. And the night after he retired had even more amazing wrestling. It was like 2.5 hours where you just didn't have time to catch your breath. Like, everything was just fantastic. There was, like, a moment for a guy named, like, Bam Sullivan where he won this tournament, and it felt like a total coming out party, like the making of a star. He had this amazing match against Alex Colon, where he became like a really big deal. Another guy who's been like this like rising star named Tony Deppen tagged with this fella named Jeff Cannonball, and Jeff Cannonball's had this like emerging gimmick recently of doing this thing called short soda reviews, where he just stops what he's doing to review a soda. And, like, the Jeff Cannonball's short soda reviews are, like, really over with the audience. So, like, it's this tag match, and, like, Cannonball, like, beats his opponent into submission. So, like, his opponent's going to be down for a few moments. At which point, Cannonball, like, reveals this bottle of Orange Shasta. And the audience just goes wild. Because they know they're about to get, like, the short soda review.
Was it 2 liters?
Oh, it's like a 20 ounce.
For sure.
And also, right now, there's a promotion in Canada called Interspecies Wrestling. And Interspecies Wrestling has their main belt be an intergender belt. It can be either won by a woman or a man. And the current belt holder for Interspecies Wrestling has been unable to get back into Canada to defend the belt because, COVID and all. And so Interspecies Wrestling worked with H2O in order to have the belt defended at H2O, so that way, like, the belt would get some exercise. And so they had this, like, scramble match, which was like a 6-way scramble, and the person who ended up winning the scramble and becoming the new Interspecies Wrestling champion was a woman named Tara Calloway, which was a surprise to everyone because she had previously retired. Like, she had retired. And she was instead, like, focusing exclusively on her organization, which is, like, providing, like, mental health resources and support to women in wrestling, because of, like, all of the weird trash bags out there who harass and bother women in wrestling. And that was kind of grow to the whole speaking out movement. And so, like, it was a total surprise to see Tara Calloway wrestling, and it was like she hadn't missed a day. So she was there with her whole dinosaur gimmick, looked fantastic, and she absolutely indicated that, like, she wasn't going to do something like just vacate the belt immediately, that she would be defending it, and that she had effectively unretired. And so it was just like, it was like 2 nights of absolutely fantastic wrestling, and a lot of it was deathmatch wrestling. Not all of it was, but, like, I feel like if somebody wanted to see, like, a coming out party for, like, a whole promotion, as well as, like, get to know a lot of the best workers in that genre of wrestling, people like G Raver, people like Alex Colon, like, this was the way to go. And, like, if you sign up for, like, IWTV, like, that's like $10. You got 2 nights of events, like 5 hours. Then you could, like, fuck off for the entire catalog. But, like, yeah, like Matt Tremont's final match. Thing of beauty. Done now. No one cares. No one cares. No one gives a shit.
It sounded like it was a good night.
We have yet to get a single piece of listener mail, which is like, "Dear Brian, I really like it when you talk about the grappling." Like, no one cares. All right, let's move on.
Stu, I'm actually looking at the Jim Rand interview that you linked, and I feel like you actually covered a lot of it. Am I mixing that up?
No, I did. That's sort of why I posted that in there. That interview, long story short, is he's a little critical of it, the immediate future of VR, but not in a way that's bad, though there is a lot of doomsaying about it. But it does sort of raise some interesting questions, though, about like future VR titles for PS5. Will they be able to take advantage of the PS5 hardware or not? And what we're seeing is maybe not. It may be that they have to make PS4 games and then release them for people on PS5.
That's weird. Why wouldn't they be able to take advantage?
So like Hitman 3, No Man's Sky, these are all VR games, right? Like, or well, they have VR modes built in. But the PS5 version will not have the ability to use the PlayStation VR. The PS4 versions can.
What? That's so weird.
Yeah, that's
And like, I mean, that has to be just like.
And I think it comes down to the controller. I think it comes down to the DualSense controller or whatever they call it now, which is just a weird name. That controller is not backwards compatible, right? So I think a lot of it comes down to like that.
Maybe it's just that like cross-platform stuff won't be able to take advantage of like PS4 VR, but like PS5 VR needs to be completely rethought.
Yeah, so the new camera that they have, it doesn't do tracking. It doesn't have the same camera setup as the PlayStation Eye or whatever. So it can't track the Move controllers, which is the same technology that it uses on the headset, I think.
Right.
And they pair with as controllers, technically. So I think that we basically, for PS5, I think we're just looking like a year later, 2 years later, for the new hardware to hit.
So that's just okay.
It's a little bit of a letdown. It's not doomsaying. There's still a huge library of PlayStation VR games that are actually high quality. But I do think that everybody's watching Facebook. Everybody sees that Valve is having success. I was seeing today that 2 of the top 10 selling things for this last week were VR related items. So it's gonna happen.
I'm not sure if y'all saw this, but there's actually like a thing that came out like a couple days ago where Ubisoft indicated that a number of Assassin's Creed games that were released on the PS4 would not work on the PS5.
I saw this.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like really egg on the face of Sony, because they already like, in an effort to get out there and damage control conversations around PS4 backwards compatibility, but like, hey guys, 99% of PS4 games work on the PS5. And really the first volley in the conversation around things that don't work are like a number of high-profile titles in a high-profile series from a high-profile publisher. Like, multiple Assassin's Creed games don't work.
Yeah.
Now, like, Ubisoft backpedaled pretty quickly after posting that information and has since, like, taken it down. And I have to wonder if part of that is that Sony is like, hey, can we devote some magic extra resources to trying to get these working? But I also have to wonder, like, how much of the issues about backwards compatibility are things that, like, you know, where does that buck stop? Like, if it's left up to the publisher, or is it left up to because if it just doesn't work, you know, like, is the publisher going to throw additional resources at it? Is Sony going to throw additional resources at it? And if Sony already has like a hard number and says less than 1%, do they know what the thing is that drives incompatibility?
It'd be weird if they didn't.
Yeah. For all of the conversations around like Xbox Series X got no games, like, well, you're going to take your little black fridge out of the box, everything you already own for your Xbox One, most of your 360 games, and a few of your original Xbox games are just going to work out the box, and none of them are going to ask for you to buy them again. Like, I would much rather if I have a thing which, like, ain't got no games, at least like allow me to play the games I already do got.
Yeah. So I was reading that as a conversation, and I feel like this ties into what we were saying about the PSVR situation, which is that it's a hot button issue, backwards compatibility, but it's a hot button issue that almost no one uses.
Yes.
But if Sony is saying, well, the way we're going to support this entire section of game is through the backwards compatibility mechanism, it actually has to elevate itself from that marketing speak, right? Like, so like if they're saying, well, if you want to play PSVR stuff, even new stuff, it has to be made through the backwards compatibility system, right?
Right.
And so does that mean that PlayStation is being confronted with this sort of like weird dissonance between these two notions and they're just hitting the wall? Or is it more than that? Like, I don't actually know the answer to that.
So something I saw, depending on your perspective, video games cool dad or video games untrustworthy uncle, Phil Spencer say, is that he believes that part of the reason that historically backwards compatibility has been not meaningful in conversations between transitions between generations is that customers who don't have the same financial means, part of their new console experience, part of the changeover in generation for them is taking their existing console and all of their video games to the video game store and trading them in as part of the new console buying experience in order to be able to afford to purchase the new console. Like, okay, like PS2 is coming out. Here's my PS1 and all of my PS1 games. Now I can buy this console. And that he believes that there will be greater use of backwards compatibility because of the Xbox Series S. It's being introduced at a significantly lower price point than the Xbox Series X and is diskless. So, like, it's pushing people more toward that, like, PC experience where you're not, like, using physical media in order to, like, make up the purchase price of the new piece of hardware, which I think is bad because it's taking choice out of the hand of the customer. I'm a big fan of, like, why not both? Now, I realize that, like, disk drives are colossally expensive and are one of the biggest cost drivers in consoles these days. Like, fuck, like, how much does an optical drive up the cost of the Xbox Series X? Like, how much would an Xbox Series S cost if it had an optical drive? But, like, looking at this new generation of consoles, pretty clearly there is a cost winner. Like, if you have 4 boxes, 2 of the boxes are $500, and 1 of the boxes is $400, and 1 of the boxes is $300, and you don't have money that really stretches all the way, then, like, the answer for you is probably going to be to get that $300 box. And if that $300 box just plays anything that you already own, like, digitally, there's something which is, like, very, very pleasing about that, like, ready-to-install library in the Xbox ecosystem. I could definitely see how conversations about backwards compatibility become more relevant. Like, it's been one of those things where, like, conversations around backwards compatibility always seem to become the most heated whenever Nintendo releases new consoles, because that seems to be the place, that seems to be the platform where the platform holder most frequently asks its customer to buy games altogether again, as opposed to just giving people the resources to play their old games. Like, when they launched the Super Nintendo, there was never any resource made available to customers to play NES games. The N64 never supported the Super Nintendo. Like, so it became even more of a heated conversation, not during console launch, but just a couple weeks ago, they launched Super Mario 3D All-Stars because, when the nerds got into the lab and started cracking apart the code on that release, and they discovered that Mario 64 and Sunshine and Galaxy were all running inside of emulators, which starts to, like, ask that, like, beg the question, like, okay, Nintendo, if you've developed emulators which are, running smoothly and running stable on the Switch, which support N64, GameCube, and Wii, then why not at this point sell me a cartridge slot that I can attach to my dock for my N64 carts and sell me a disc drive so that way I can throw in Wii and GameCube games. And the answer for Nintendo has just been like, well, because we want to sell them back to you once your nostalgia reaches peak. So, like, I don't know. I feel like the idea that, like, it's not a particularly important conversation is one which is, like, peddled by Sony. Rocky, you're dying?
No, it's fine. It's whatever.
No, please.
No, please continue.
Rocky, someone's tickling your butthole with a feather. What's going on?
Yeah, that's definitely not what's happening. Please continue with your thing.
Okay. I think the idea that, like, backwards compatibility isn't important is a byproduct of the way, like, new console launches work, and because of the Sony's need to, like, burn the bridges to their own historical architecture multiple times.
I partially agree with you. I think that a bigger reality is that the vast majority of people who play games in general on console don't want to play 4-generation-old games. They want to play the new hotness, or they want to play their game. They want to play their FIFA. They want to play their Call of Duty, their Fortnite, whatever it is. And outside of that, the market segment drops in population so significantly that it almost doesn't matter.
Well, that would line up with comments that, like, Jim Ryan at fucking Sony, but also, like, Activision has made over the years. It's still objectively shitty.
I agree.
I mean, it doesn't change that it's not true, because it almost certainly is, like, given, like, how the market plays out. But it still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that when it comes to looking at previous generation games, you can probably put a handful of each generation games into a category and say if those games are supported, that covers 98% of everybody who's going to play backwards compatibility games outside of retro enthusiasts.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Like, I think that you could probably reasonably cover every Atari, 98% of what people would want to play with Atari VCS backwards compatibility, where it was something between 15 to 20 games. The line of people out there going like, hey man, I want to play Custer's Revenge is like, there's like 2 people in that line.
Yeah. And we got their names. We're looking at you.
That's fair.
They're just blacklisted. Their photos are like at the door. They're not allowed in.
Yep. Like, hey y'all, can I play Tax Avoiders on this?
There's Yoshi when you need him.
Yeah. All right. First off, shout outs to somebody for making a claim on the news music for our podcast. I saw that happen again on Facebook.
Oh, no. That's not what that was. There was a claim on the video for the panda thing.
No. I saw that. That's not even...
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw that. There was also a claim on news music.
Okay.
Yeah. I did see I think it was America's Funniest Home Video claim on Panda Video.
Which is fair.
Fair.
It's a transformative work, but whatever.
It's fine. Whatever. Like, also, like, I felt silly and self-indulgent when that happened because I had not listened to that whole fucking Panda rant, I guess, since it happened.
In a while.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe that I'm cracking myself up. This is... Because it's weird, because, like, you get to have enough distance from it. It no longer it doesn't even feel like that thing you did anymore. I'm just like, man, I'm like, fucking Spiro and I just got no patience with pandas. Just like, it's...
Yeah, it was legitimately ridiculous.
I mean, fuck them.
Like, I couldn't believe it was happening, like, when it was happening.
I mean, Stu, did you know that pandas are trash?
Some of them.
You want to tell me about good pandas? Now you fucking piqued my interest.
No, a trash panda is a thing, right?
Yeah, that's a raccoon.
Yeah, so, I mean, they can't all be raccoons, Brian.
Okay.
He's not wrong.
Okay, well, I'm not saying that they're all raccoons. I'm just saying that all pandas should be put into a rocket and then fired into the sun.
Yeah, Brian really hates pandas for some reason.
That's so mean.
They are enumerated on our Instagram and Facebook, apparently.
I really like the YouTube videos that are just compilations of pandas falling off of stuff.
Oh, you mean like all footage of fucking pandas? That's all they do.
I like the footage of pandas where they're like crowded around their keepers while they're trying to clean their pens and they're like playing with them. I think that's fun.
Oh my god. They're not even aware when they shit. They don't even know that it's happening.
Maybe it's not that big a deal, Brian. Who knows? It's not like they wear diapers or anything.
Shitting is a big deal. Like, they can't feed themselves. They can't find water. Like, you fucking put a panda more than 30 feet from a source of water, it's gonna die. It's gonna fucking die of dehydration. They're so fucking stupid. They're so dumb.
It's too bad we like them. Too bad we think they're cute.
Oh my god, like, pandas are the world's pine phones. Like, they're just this hobby.
Ooh.
They are they are the hobby of the human race.
That's mean, Brian.
Like pandas would have died out unless mankind wasn't like, you know what? I'll tell you what, I want to get these here pandas to fuck. And like, they're too stupid to fuck. They're too stupid to source their own food. They're too stupid to find water. But yet mankind gets in there, puts on its panda outfits, shows the panda where the water is, teaches the panda how to do sex, and then like, oh my god, just why? Why?
Maybe that's the panda's bits of survival, dude. Like, they just decide, you know what? If I pretend that I don't know how to do shit, maybe these weird monkey people will take care of us. And a couple of them saw a couple other ones do that, and now they just do that. That's their lives. The legacy of their species. The longest con.
Oh my god. Like, I saw just recently, like, on CNN, like, news that brings hope to Americans everywhere in the midst of a pandemic and the greatest political tension that our country has experienced in hundreds of years. A panda was born at the National Zoo, and I'm like, oh good, another one. Like, fucking pandas.
Like, he unironically hates pandas this much. It's fucking wild, Stu. I still don't get it.
I don't know what it's about.
They're just soft.
They're dog shit. They're fucking dog shit.
Okay, guys, let's get into new.
Fuck pandas.
It's been like 3 years. Okay, everyone, listen up. This is still American-centric news. I'm sorry for the people that are in Russia or the Philippines or Canada, whoever listens to us. But Americans need to be aware that the United States Navy is training cowardly streamers on your dime. I have it on good authority from On the Media's Mike Lowinger, who used a Freedom of Information Act request to get a hold of some U.S. Navy training materials related to its controversial Twitch channel. According to their July manual, U.S. streamers are being coached to deal with the infamous question popularized by activist Jordan Uhl: what's your favorite war crime? They are trained to respond in one of 4 ways, which are as follows. 1. I'm here to hang out with people like me who love gaming. If you want to know more about my life in the Navy, I'm happy to discuss, but I will not speak on behalf of others. 2. If you have concerns about Navy policies or actions, I suggest you contact the federal elected officials from your state. 3. I understand that some people here oppose the military and have no interest in a Navy career. But for those who are curious about what it's like to serve, let's talk. And 4. I'm here to play games. I have no interest in engaging in personal attacks.
Those are all fucking disgusting.
Right?
I just need y'all to know those are all disgusting.
It'd be different if this was just a standard streamer responding to these things. But here, when you ask anyone who's streaming on a United States Navy account, who are representative of the United States Navy, a military branch of our country and a federally operating organization, they have to answer to citizens and their questions. And if they want to pretend that asking about war crimes are personal attacks, or if they just want to be unabashed about the use of their Twitch channel as a fucking recruitment tool, which is almost certainly targeting children, then we get to roast them for it. That's your right as an American.
I'm pretty sure it's your right as an American to protest the government in any way, and like, yeah, it's absolutely your right to roast the fucking Navy. I do believe at this point I would be a better streamer for the Navy than actual people who are in the Navy.
I'd actually be interested in watching Tegan try to play Grand Theft Auto and fucking League of Legends and World of Warcraft.
Dude, I'd be absolute garbage. I'd be okay at World of Warcraft, but I'd be a healer and everyone would be like, you suck. And I'd be like, bitch, shut up. I do not suck. I just haven't played in like 10 years. Relax.
I'd actually watch that stream. That sounds like fun. But on their page on Twitch Tone, they are taught to share personal stories about their time in the Navy, confirm that they're speaking from their own experience. They can't speak for the Navy despite playing on the official Navy Twitch channel. They say that every sailor has his or her own story. Oh my god.
Oh my god, my favorite Navy story is that my friend was doing training on how to use the warheads, and he literally just sat in a room and played first-person shooters all day to practice target practice. And, like, that was it.
Oh my god.
He didn't do anything. It was great.
Point is, everyone that's obviously an American citizen, if you care about the way that the United States Navy is representing itself, if you care about the fact that they are using the internet to recruit children younger than even like high school recruiters, which is, fucked up anyways. Like, we shouldn't have military recruiters in high schools anymore. And if you care that the United States Navy isn't brave enough to stand up to its own history, then, get involved. Pay attention. Fuck some shit up.
Deplatform war criminals.
Deplatform war criminals!
It's not too much to ask, I swear.
Petition to replace any actual person who is actually affiliated with the Navy with a VTuber who is neither male nor female and very gay.
God, I would like to, but the thing is, I fear that with VTubers, the U.S. Navy Twitch channel recruitment may actually become more effective.
Well, here's the thing is they're not actually affiliated with the Navy, so they can say whatever they want.
Oh, God.
They can talk shit about the Navy because they're not part of the Navy.
Bran, you're surprisingly silent.
Well, I'm just trying to think about the most effective way to keep the U.S. military out of streaming situations. And I think I might have figured it out.
Okay.
I propose a law.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
A law, sure.
A law that says, henceforth, the United States military and all of its attendant branches shall not be able to use any streaming video platform in order to advance purposes of military recruitment until such time that the species known as panda is self-sufficient.
That would work.
Then, now we get a new military program where, like, they're trying to prove the pandas are self-sufficient. They start training pandas like chimps.
It's going to be a deep fake panda.
It would turn into an entire conservation effort, though. That'd be fucking good.
Mission accomplished.
Oh no, we have to bring them back in their natural environment. It doesn't count if they're just in the zoos. Dang. We gotta fix the environment so we can put them back in the wild.
God.
Ha!
I say, Sergeant, what is that panda doing? He's tumbling down a hill, sir. Shit is falling out of his butt, sir. He is unaware of the location of the stream.
Be great.
God damn it. How are we ever going to get back on the Twitch or the YouTube? Teach that panda to hunt.
That might be a good recruiting tool.
Okay, what if we just expand this and say that all current species on the endangered species list must be removed by their natural populations being large enough that they cannot, they don't have to be on the endangered species list anymore?
I'd like to use a significant chunk of our military budget towards a conservation effort.
I'd like to use our entire military budget on a conservation effort. Hot take. I'd like to eliminate all of our foreign bases.
We do have a lot of those.
It's a fear tactic. Oh.
You mean the spoils of war?
Yeah, I mean the spoils of war. Let's get all of our troops home, including those stationed at military bases overseas, in Germany, and England, and France, and Spain, and Japan.
I would like to play Apex with Micah again. That sounds like fun.
Is Micah in the military?
Yeah, he's in Tehran, I think.
But what if what he was doing instead was watching a panda fall down a hill?
He would think that's hilarious. He would totally do it.
That would be better for everyone's mental health as well.
So there you go. If they say be all that you can be, then what the answer is watching a panda fall down a hill.
Yeah, I want to do it. They're cute.
Micah's in the army. All of them need to be fixed, but I just want to clarify.
Army of none.
Stuff Army of One.
Yeah, right?
Oh boy.
Paws on the ground.
Oh, Aww, Paws on the Ground, that's the next Call of Duty game. It's Call of Duty Conservation. Oh, I like it. That'd be good. I'd play that one. You go out with like a blow dart and you hunt poachers. I'm down.
You can't hunt the poachers, because if you're hunting the poachers, they're still not self-sufficient.
They're poaching on, like, the part that you're trying to help them breed on. It's, like, protected territory.
Okay, like...
You also get to shoot rich white guys who go to Africa and shoot elephants. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, goofy-ass dentists and shit.
Yep, fuck them. Don't actually fuck them.
Please
blow
don't.
them, blow them up.
Procreating.
Nope, non-procreation for you.
So, hey guys, who wants to talk about Facebook?
We talked about Facebook.
It's true.
Okay, well, who wants to get Zucker fucked again?
Oh my God. I hate that. I
don't like the way that is phrased.
It's accurate, though.
But go on.
Is there a way that we can avoid being Zucker fucked? I'd like to do that if I can.
Well, you could probably not buy an Oculus.
No, okay, sure.
That's easy. I don't have any money.
People are paying to get Zucker fucked?
The problem is that there's all these folks out there who already had Oculuses and are now getting Zucker fucked post facto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rip.
So when Facebook bought Oculus, they're like, "Hey guys, don't worry, you won't need a Facebook login to use your Oculus because we're your friends. We're Facebook." And I was like, "Well, that's a lie." And eventually, they rolled out the requirement of needing a Facebook login for an Oculus. Now, they maintained these like legacy Oculus user IDs, but said that those were going to sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, in order to do anything with an Oculus, you would need to have a fucking Facebook account. So, now, even better, Zucker fucking says, if you delete your Facebook account, you will lose access to all the Oculus products that you've purchased. So anything you bought to play on your Oculus is donezo if you delete your Facebook.
Oof.
It's true.
Yeah, so this is specifically like Facebook making the jump from like social media to just media company now, I guess.
It's a thing that they've been like trying to do for a while. Like they've been trying to get more aggressively into like video streaming. They've had difficulty like really getting any kind of like video content to take off.
Well, it didn't help that they lied.
Yeah. But like people are not lining up to watch Limetown starring Jessica Biel on Facebook. But I definitely think it is fair to characterize it as lying.
It is.
The gaming interest of Oculus are entirely just background noise to the revenue potential from like forced integration of VR into Facebook's idea of like social networking.
Right.
Yeah. If they can require you to like, God, some time ago on this show, we watched a movie that we all hated, which was called Ready Player One.
Oh yeah, no, they want to make Ready Player One. It's not news.
Yeah.
Absolutely clear.
And there was a line in that film which has stuck with me, which is when the bad guy says to the table full of bad guys, "We can make a user's field of view 80% ads before they begin to experience seizures."
Yeah, it's true.
Oh dear.
And,
that's right, he said that shit with
right.
his chest.
And for me, that is honestly like the best summary of the Facebook experience. VR or no?
That's just surveillance capitalists at work, man.
Yes, it is.
Yay.
But Stu, like, part of the reason that you're here is that we asked you to eat a whole bunch of broccoli and artichoke hearts and drink some black coffee before you came on, because we know that there's really no one better at shitting on Facebook than you.
I hate Facebook so much. Oh. Okay, so I guess it's my turn for the dump.
Mm-hmm.
So the system that enforces Facebook's, I guess, policy of having your account be actually tied to your name, the auto system that flags things and then makes you have to submit your driver's license or ID card or whatever you have, right? That system. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That system also now operates on accounts that work with Oculus because they've sort of merged all of that stuff, right? So what's happening is people are getting banned for having a bad name or and then their entire Oculus library of games just disappears. They forfeit it. So about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, somebody did something with the algorithm, and it just caused a flood of bans, and it triggered huge amount of auto bans, but they were perma bans. So like where you don't get an opportunity to give them your ID card, they say, we've flagged it and reviewed it. All you can do is download your Facebook data. You can't contest it. There's no recourse.
Oh.
And so anybody who works with any of those kinds of machine learning systems know that you do one little tweak over here, but depending on the data set, it'll have huge unintended consequences.
Yup.
And that's what happened. Something triggered, and it was because people were creating extra accounts or logging in twice on the same device. Facebook isn't clear about what triggered it. And it just started auto-banning tons of new Oculus users, but perma-banning them. And so when that happens, Facebook doesn't know about it, right? Like there's no queue that they get to look at because they've been marked as reviewed.
Right.
And the average person doesn't have any recourse because I don't know if you ever tried to get support directly from Facebook. If you do not have an account, it's extraordinarily difficult. You basically have to be a senator. It just was like sweeping problems through Oculus, and it essentially bricked their devices. And it happened to a VR chat developer who was developing for the Quest. And he was like, I actually have the ear of people in Facebook, so I was able to get some light shed on this. But imagine if you weren't me. So it's real and it's happening. Like that fear that people have, oh, the bans and all this, it's real. And it's not even people who are doing anything wrong.
Yay! Love it!
Yeah. And there's a fear in places like VR chat where a lot of the trans community sort of use that as a safe space to explore the sort of identity questions and stuff like that. But it's being tied on Facebook to accounts that have their real identity. Now, obviously, this is not visible to the end users, right? Like you're not at risk from someone else in VR chat finding your name or something. But when you start looking at how these companies behave in authoritarian countries,
yeah,
where this kind of thing is actually heavily persecuted and sometimes used to put people in things like camps and stuff. There's a lot of really scary things in their account system and forcing people to use a Facebook account. And that is why, as much as I actually do like the Oculus concept, I will never, ever suggest anybody dive into that market.
That's okay, though. We don't have to worry about the United States turning into an authoritarian regime. Right?
Right? So, it's a scary thing.
Right, fucking Twitch Navy account? Fuck you.
So that's scary. But one of the things that did come from it is somebody has successfully created a jailbreak for the Oculus devices. And the VR community is so sort of intent on protecting that person and that jailbreak that they have sort of circled the wagons. Like they've created organizations to help like defend from litigation from Facebook. And it's kind of an interesting phenomenon of the community sort of coming together to make sure and obscure the identity of the people creating jailbreaks.
Which feels more relevant this week when YouTube went after YouTube downloading resources on GitHub.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
YouTube DL is just a free and open source library that's used for lots of things. It is obviously used for just ripping IP that is not under legal purview, I guess. But it's also used for other stuff too. So it was just really sketchy.
Yep. Oh, man.
So yeah, fuck Facebook. Fuck Microsoft.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck Facebook. All our homies hate Facebook.
We're not gonna say fuck Microsoft until after I don't win the fridge.
Yes. Yes.
Because Phil Spencer might actually listen to this
weird.
podcast. Who knows?
I'm going to tag him.
Phil Spencer.
Would be
Phil
weird.
Spencer, if you listen to this podcast, give us a sign.
Oh, God.
Just at us. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. Just type the at.
Yeah. Phil Spencer, if you're watching this podcast, I got some stuff to say.
I don't have anything to say. I'm just like, what?
Give her a fridge.
Yeah, give me a fridge. I'd like a fridge.
Yeah, give Tegan
I'd like the hers version. And I don't want to, I'm making a joke because, I'm making a very sexist joke.
Of course.
But we need to acknowledge that I am making the sexist joke. And so it's okay.
Right. Like, you're not asking for a pink fridge or whatever.
Right, exactly. I don't need a pink Xbox. I'm good. And besides, Alex plays the Xbox all the time. I just watch because I don't personally like the way the buttons on the Xbox are set up. That's just me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you not like about the buttons?
It's too big. The controller is too big, so I can't hold it very well, and I mix up where all the buttons are.
This is going to sound really weird, but given the crew, it makes sense. Is it an original Xbox?
It's we have an Xbox, an Xbox
that
360,
Duke controller
an
is huge.
Xbox One S, an Xbox One X. We have all of them.
Okay.
I tried playing some stuff on the Xbox One X with the regular Xbox One controllers, and I just can't. It doesn't sit in my hand well.
Gotcha.
The PlayStation controller actually sits in my hands better, and it's because the nubs are smaller. The little legs on it are smaller. So I'm really actually very concerned about the new PlayStation controller because I'm worried it's going to be too big. In addition to everything else, I'm not going to be able to play the fucking PlayStation because the controller's going to be too big. Fuck me. I have tiny hands. I have thin hands. So, I don't know. It's a Tegan problem, but that's okay. Meh. But Tegan has good news! I'm excited. I am a little excited.
Can you stop referring to yourself in the third person?
This fucking corporate stooge, right?
I'm ready. What's the news?
Oh my god, Brian.
I'm excited.
Well, now I'm not excited anymore because Brian's gonna make fun of me.
No, Brian already got out of his system. He just did.
I'm excited about anime. I think we might be about to enter another golden age of anime
Oh.
because Sony is in negotiations to buy Crunchyroll. And they are going to buy them for $1 billion yen, which is $957 million. But this is why I'm excited specifically, because Sony owns Aniplex, and Aniplex owns Funimation. And in the before time that existed also on this podcast, we lived in the golden age of anime, where you could watch both anime on both Crunchyroll and Funimation at the same time with only one account. So you had access to so many anime, all the anime, because they don't always share. And it was wild, and I could watch so much stuff legally, and for not any more than what I was paying originally for my Crunchyroll account, which was I think $6 a month, $7 a month, something like that, But now if you want to watch anything on Funimation, you can watch the first 2 episodes of something for free, and that's it. You have to pay for it after that. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. But if they hook it up again to the Crunchyroll subscription like they had before, I'll have access to all those shows. And I'll be able to watch them. All those shows. It'll be so exciting. Exciting for me.
Is there a chance that they're going to go the Disney route where they have a subscription, but if you want to watch more than the first 2 episodes, you have to buy it?
I fucking hope not, because I would just cancel everything.
That's the thing that
Just
happened,
fuck it.
right? I'm not missing.
Well, Tegan, I have some bad news for you.
What?
If you look at major film studios, you have Disney, which has their own streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
You have Warner Media, which has their own streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
You have NBC Universal, which has their own streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
Sony has kind of been sitting out here with its dick in the wind, continuing to license content to other streaming services. Oh, okay, so-and-so wants to have the rights to Spider-Man Homecoming for a year, that's fine. As opposed to bringing home all of the IP that Sony owns or has the rights to under a single umbrella. And Sony, because Sony owns stuff like Columbia TriStar and Orion Pictures, has the rights to a lot of movies. And has rights to a lot of IP that people care about. So this feels like Sony slowly ginning up their own streaming service. And like, I say that because it's something that they kind of like fucked with before, but did wrong.
Do you think the purchase is more about buying the infrastructure?
When it comes to like these streaming services, the war is all about content. Do you have something which like locks in users to feeling like they don't have any choice but to subscribe to your service? And I have no doubt that like Sony will build like a rickety ass kind of crappy streaming service. You know, like if I were to point to one of the streaming services which is currently out there and go like this one, I can see Sony's looking a lot like HBO Max, you know, which feels like it's kind of put together with fucking duct tape. And the thing is that like, if you're where the buck stops for Crunchyroll and you're where the buck stops for Funimation, and you then like create some service called like Sony Plus, you're like, hey, all of your favorite Sony motion pictures, and you know, Crunchyroll, like Crunchyroll is going to ultimately get rolled into a larger identity.
I don't think that's bad news.
Okay, so like backing up to like, is that, you know, bad news or not? Warner Media operated a separate streaming platform called DC Universe. And it was very much like the little plucky streaming service that could. All that they would put up there are the like the home video animated movies that are like based on DC Pictures, the back catalog of like live action film and television. If you wanted to watch the like the short-lived 90s TV series The Flash, you could watch it on DC Universe. And it was like, okay, you want to watch Superman with Christopher Reeves? Like, here you go. Like, and it had like a small amount of original content, but all the original content they did have was like very well received and very well reviewed. Like Doom Patrol, Harley Quinn, Stargirl, all had like rave reviews. And Warner has decided to like fold up DC Universe and turn it into a service which is just an e-reader for comic books, and take all of the video content from it and put it onto HBO Max. So like everything is just moving to HBO Max. And the cost of DC Universe is $5 a month. The cost of HBO Max is $15 a month. So if you're just some like fucking comic book nerd who's just like, I just want to watch the comic book stuff, then like your cost monthly of like getting tapped into that like original content based on the DC Universe just tripled. And so, like, I think about, like, Tegan here, our foremost anime expert, our largest anime consumer, and if all of a sudden her $7 a month Crunchyroll subscription turns into a $15 a month Sony Plus subscription because Sony's like, Tegan, we'd love for you to check out the new Ghostbusters original series. My guess is she's not wild about it.
Also, $28.
Yeah. So, Crunchyroll is currently ultimately owned by Warner Media, and I think this is really more of a move to compete with Amazon and High Dive and Netflix on, like, the limited anime streaming more than anything else. Part of the appeal of Crunchyroll specifically is that it's accessible. If you decide to buy Crunchyroll, for the base price, you don't get ads. If you don't buy Crunchyroll, you can still watch everything. You're just watching it a week later than everybody else, which isn't so bad. And, like, once it's up, it's free forever, basically, until they, like, lose the license to it or whatever. If they do get Crunchyroll, then Crunchyroll could theoretically have all of the Studio Ghibli movies on it, which is the only thing that, like, HBO Max has over Crunchyroll, as far as, like, anime that they share a catalog of.
That is a separate negotiated license, because, like, the Studio Ghibli films are a separate negotiated license in the US, which Warner has, and outside of the United States and Japan, every other place in the world, outside of the United States and Japan, Studio Ghibli films live on Netflix. So if you're in Canada, you're in Germany, whatever, you're watching your Totoro on Netflix. So, like, one of the things that makes these mammoth, giant, bloated streaming services profitable is reducing as much as possible the stuff which is licensed and pushing users into content which is produced for the platform. And one of the things which has like been helpful to Netflix and helpful to Amazon as far as anime goes is that a lot of the anime which has done well on those platforms has been anime that they have paid for. You know, anime which like Netflix owns the rights to forever. And it's very, very obvious if you like look at the interface for HBO Max that like Warner could give two shits about Crunchyroll. Click the Crunchyroll button inside of the HBO Max app, and like it brings up like a sound file of a cricket chirping, and you see like a bug light swinging back and forth, and there's like a single row of like stuff which is all old, and the row is labeled, I don't know, anime. There's stuff which is like much more prominently featured, and this is also something I know that I think we've talked about on the show, the idea that like if you log into Netflix, you'll have like 8 rows, 5 of the rows are nothing but pictures of Stranger Things. If you log into HBO Max, like it's already very much that kind of experience where they're trying to get you to do stuff like watch Raised by Wolves or other like HBO Max originals. And like by buying Crunchyroll outright, you know, Sony is already a fully functioning film studio with a fully functioning animation department. Like,
there it is.
I could see Sony be like, hey, what if we start pushing a whole bunch of original content to our streaming service, but we can give it that kind of boutique branding that these customers already innately trust.
I mean, Crunchyroll's already doing, like, original anime. That is a thing that's happening.
Right. Also, I'm not sure about, like, that DC, like, universe comparison, because, like, I wouldn't really characterize Crunchyroll as, like, a plucky, like, streaming service that could. Like, I think it's somewhere in, like, the space of, like, Hulu, but, like, for anime. And I know Hulu does contain anime.
Yeah, but this is Hulu straight anime.
Right.
With, like, the anime part of Hulu being, like, J and K dramas.
And I don't see what Sony would stand to gain by simply, like, absorbing Crunchyroll's content without, like, their branding.
Oh, no, I guarantee you they'll preserve the branding. I guarantee you they're going to preserve the branding. Because, like...
Right, but I'm saying, like, different than, say, like, the deal with, like, HBO where they take, like, selections and it's a button on the screen. Like, it's more like the way Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN, like, fuse together. Like, Disney owns ESPN, but they're not just going to say, like, hey, it's all the Disney streaming service, so you can press the ESPN button and watch a couple games or whatever. It's like, no, these services exist. You get them all together.
If there's
for, like,
a single
13 bucks
app,
or whatever.
like a Sony Plus app that you launch, and there's, like, a button that says, like, Crunchyroll within that app, and it just launches there. Like, this is not unprecedented within, you know, the streaming space.
Right, it just doesn't work. Like, that's the problem with HBO Max.
Well, right. I mean, but it doesn't work for HBO Max because their implementation sucks ass. But if you go over and you look at Hulu, there is a thing which is entirely marketed and presented as a separate service, which is FX on Hulu, which is where the entire catalog of, like, historical programming that was on the FX network is housed, and originals which are branded as FX on Hulu.
Sure.
Now, even though Disney now owns the FX network and they own what is now 20th Century Studios, now that they've gotten that.
They didn't when that started, yeah.
They wanted to preserve the prestige branding associated with television that is broadcast on FX. So they could call those shows Hulu originals, but instead, by calling them FX on Hulu, it conjures to mind, like, a different image for consumers. People are like, oh, FX, like, the place where I, like, watch shows like Sons of Anarchy or It's Always Sunny. Like, it creates a vibe. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but, like, Crunchyroll's, like, foray into, like, actual animation is relatively new. Like, they've been, like, a content aggregator, like, more than anything else.
Let's talk about average consumers here.
Sure.
Like, how dialed in is the average anime consumer?
Honestly, if I'm talking about Crunchyroll, pretty dialed in. Like, I'm not even joking about that. I'm not being contrarian. Like, they pay attention.
So, do you think that the average anime consumer treats Crunchyroll like a brand they can trust?
I don't know about that. The people who watch Crunchyroll watch specifically for subtitled material as soon as possible. If you're watching mostly on Funimation, it's because you're either following specific American voice actors and want to participate in all of the material that they're, like, present in, or you don't want to have to wait for dubbed material to appear either on television regularly or on Netflix. You want the dubs as soon as possible because Funimation is the anime studio for dubs, basically. Like, even dubs that are on Crunchyroll, Funimation probably did most of them. So it depends on, like, what brand you're looking for. And that's all to say, like, I don't know. I haven't gotten the chance to explore, like, the high dive situation, but almost no one gets a chance, like, as far as, like, avid anime consumers, almost no one's watching the Amazon animes, and no one wants to wait for Netflix to release an entire series of an anime at once, so they're watching it on an illegal streaming site instead, is basically how that goes.
Okay.
If you want to keep up with current anime and watch it as soon as you can, you're watching it on Crunchyroll. Unless you want to watch it illegally, you know, in which case you're watching it on, you know, Kiss Anime or something. Not Kiss Anime anymore, but, you know, that sort of thing.
Rip Kiss Anime.
Well, so it sounds to me like there is a fair amount of speculation, and it's a thing that we should watch with intense interest, and eventually somebody here will get to say, I told you so.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so, man.
I'm hoping it's me because, like, basically what happened before was they just merged the catalogs, and it took a while for stuff to get uploaded, but, like, literally every month it was like, hey, we've added 15 new anime from Funimation's catalog over to our thing, and Funimation is now simul-streaming these anime in the Japanese dub, and it was a glorious time for fans of subs and dubs. It also kicked off the simul-dub activity on Funimation, which I think drove them a lot of, eyes. Because people were like, oh, well, I want to watch My Hero Academia, but I really do only watch it in English for whatever reason. Either I'm watching it while I'm doing other stuff or whatever. So Funimation started doing simul-dubs, and then that week afterwards, when stuff would be available for everyone on Crunchyroll, that's when the dub of that episode went up.
I wonder if they're going to use the Crunchyroll acquisition to bolster some service that they're offering, like a PSN service or something like that, in an attempt to combat the Xbox Game Pass.
I'd be interested in seeing, like, a formalized relationship with, like, PS Now.
Right now they're at 3 million subscribers, right? So, so that's...
PSN gets hacked all the time, though. That's their main problem. PSN gets hacked. PSN security is shitty. Somebody's gotta fix that before I'd be willing to sign up for PlayStation Plus again.
I don't think that's too strange a guess, too, like, because they tried to do that at the launch of the PS4 generation, and they were like, hey, guys, check out PlayStation TV. Check out the hit PlayStation original television series, Powers.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, hey, guys, never mind. And then they kind of, like, retreated and focused on this is a box on which you play video games. And it kind of has made that the entirety of their strategy for the last generation. And now that we're definitely shifting to a place where what you're trying to do is, like, sell people, like, content-heavy platforms, the box needs to be more than just a thing that, like, puts video games into your living room. Which is weird, because that was the whole fucking thing that, like, Don Matrick tried to sell people at the launch of the Xbox One. Or he's like, hey guys, you can watch NFL football games on this thing, and...
The problem is they were selling it to the wrong people at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Microsoft's had that trouble in the past. Like, there was, like, a period of time where they're just like, no, we just really want moms to get into the Xbox. Which, like, isn't a completely misguided idea. It was just, like, the moms weren't listening. That wasn't what was going on. And then, like, they really wanted to focus on, like, getting dude bros to buy the Xbox One, but they didn't have the key partnerships with, like, EA Activision to really, like, send that into orbit, so it didn't work out. And now they're just like, we're just going to make sure, you know what? If you want to play a game, you don't have to worry about how it works. Just get it. Maybe they're trying to sell Xboxes to himbos. That might work. I don't know.
Well, I think this has been a TV show. Jesus
It
Christ.
has not
It's
been a
been a
TV
TV
show.
show.
This is a podcast, Brian.
It's been a podcast. I do have a text message I'd like to read here first.
Okay. Okay.
Wasn't me.
I'll allow it.
Hey again, Brian. This is Jenna from Team Bruzy. We're really excited to hear what you've been doing on your podcast with our products.
Hey, what up, Jenna?
Yeah. Please send us some episodes of your podcast once they're available.
Oh no. We're sorry, Jenna. Oh dear.
That's the thing, I think, right? Like everyone, this has been our show.
Brought.
It's called Impossible Coin. We do it every week.
Yep.
You find out where podcasts are found. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Brian, can you do the thing?
Fuck SoundCloud.
And speaking of SoundCloud, the music at the beginning and end of this podcast were produced by friend of the show, kid brother of the show, the man, the myth, the legend, Big Sach. You can find him on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/BigSachNJ, and maybe drop him a line on Twitter at Hillary_Swank. Our logo is also a t-shirt. It was designed by Lauren Moran. You can find her on Twitter at Lauren Moran. She also has a Patreon. Drop her a couple bucks. She deserves it. And speaking of Patreon, we have one of those too. It's at patreon.com/Impossible Coin Podcast. I gotta level with you guys. We also have the /Impossible Coin. We just don't know how to unify them yet. But we're working on it. I swear. We are also on social media. I'm on Facebook. Brian's on Twitter. Tegan's on Tumblr. I'm also on Instagram. Fuck you, Festival Hardbody. And it's all Impossible Coin. No underscores or X's or anything weird like that. If you see something weird, say something weird. Or not like that. That's us. That's the show.
You know that it's probably weird out there right now, regardless of what happened yesterday. Stay safe. We love you. Peace.
Bye.